grab the feed from the Facebook Live page and then share that to the Color Computer group. That'd be great.
Don't you mean 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. Yes. Did I say 9 o'clock? I don't know what I said.
You said
right.
10.
Oh, all right. I can't count. All right. Looks like we're on YouTube, so we're gonna go ahead and cue the CoCoTALK intro. This is the Red Balloon episode 99 of CoCoTALK Live, the world's leading live talk show. And cue intro in 3, 2. Nick Marotta.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer, with your host, Mr. Can't Get Past Level 1 in any game, Stevie Stroh. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of CoCoTALK. We are live. It is a Saturday night. Do you know where your color computers are? Hopefully they are somewhere safe and being well cared for. We're live. We are on the air. We have got a panel of people who, for whatever reason, keep showing up every single Saturday. So thank you, and I'm sorry.
What is wrong with us?
So we have in the bottom right-hand corner, on the bottom of the earth, the thunder from down under, Mr. Nicholas Marentes. Good day, Nick.
Good day, everyone. Yep. How's things? Nice and cold up there?
Well, not in Florida. It's nice and warm here. So, I had to kick the sheet off the other night because it was getting a little toasty under it.
Shut up.
We have from Canada in the Great White North, Mr. D. Bruce Moore is with us. How's it going, eh? Oh, and Jacob. Bruce
Doing
and
good.
Jacob. How's it going, both of yous?
Good.
Good. Well, welcome. Good to see you again, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks.
You breaking any more records on Coco games?
Working on it. Not there yet.
Okay. Well, we look forward to
game
that.
you working on now?
I've been working on Dungeon Crawler.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You liking it?
Yeah, it's a pretty good game.
Cool. Well, we're glad to hear that. We also have with us the celebrity booking agent, the interface to the celebrity world, the guy who has lunch and rubs elbows with celebrities. You know who I'm talking about. The Timberman himself, Ron Delvo. Hello,
Hi,
Ronnie.
everybody.
How you doing? Still,
Pretty good.
Still getting over your sniffle a little bit there?
Yeah, I'm good. We're 63 degrees here. It's been warmer. It's a little cool today, but yeah, we're supposed to get a little rain soon, and then 70s, 75s.
Wow, 63 in Arizona. That's
we're doing good.
all right. We have the guy who gets stuff like too often now. He's almost a guy I almost want to say, I don't like you anymore. You're getting too many things. But this guy gets some cool stuff, and we're going to see some more show and tell from him tonight. Brian Weasler's with us. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, all.
Welcome to the program. Thanks for being here again. We have legendary game designer and an all-around awesome guy. Mr. Rick Adams is with us. Hello, Rick.
Hello there. Okay, we'll put you under the table with you if I'm cable. The big 97 music heaven. Okay. Thank you. You're too kind.
You are too kind, and thank you. Yes. From Canada, lovely Curtis Boyle's back with us. Hello, Curtis.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for being here. We have from the the Chicago area, right? You're in Chicago, Brian? Brian the Music Man?
Yep.
Chicago-ish area from the Glenside Color Computer Club.
Got his own theme music.
Yes, he does.
Starred straight.
That's right. It's too bad it gets clipped a lot from the microphone or the noise canceling or whatever it is. But yeah, We're here now. But Brian, the Music Man Shoebring, is with us. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for joining us and getting that lovely haircut. And last, but certainly not least, I called him at least 3 times last week that I can recall. I called you Mark Bosley a few times last week, but it is Mark Bosley. Mark Bosley is with us this evening. Hello, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Lovely shirt there. And once again, Ron and
We're twinsies.
We're
twinsies.
negatives.
Yeah, Ron Delvaux and Mark Bosley have the negative of each other's shirts, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Yin and yang.
Oh, it'll be or that way.
Well, okay, what did Nick Marotta says? I kept refreshing YouTube on Roku until I saw the link to the live stream. What does that say about me? Oh, wow. So, I mean, and that means you were like waiting? I don't know, right? Well, thank you. And Nick Marotta's here. Ken Reichert had asked earlier before the show started in the live chat. We've had a handful of people hanging out, anxiously waiting for the program to begin. So one of the first people that chimed in was Mark B. before because he couldn't get on Zoom. And then we had Joe Burnett in there saying, woohoo, good evening. That was at the 15-minute mark. Ken Reichert was asking about 10 minutes before the show started, is Nick Marotta going to be here? Because it's episode 99, Ken was also asking, are we going to have red balloons here, right? But Nick's here. Welcome, Nick. And then Scott Carter just joined us on Facebook, too. Hey, Scott. Did anybody share out the Facebook stream to the Coco group? Did anybody have a chance to do that yet? Oh, thank you. There we go. All right. So, Nick Marotta's here. Tom C. just joined us from Jersey. We're here. It's another week. So, we're going to play that game we play. We're going to say, hey, what was new in your world this week? Mike Craig just joined us on Facebook. Mike Craig says, I'm wearing the same shirt as Ron Delvaux right now. LOL. All right, Ron. There you go. So, very cool. So, Mark Bosley, have you done anything cool this week? Learned anything? Obtained anything? Anything you want to share or show and tell with us this week?
No. I just grabbed this because it matches the shirt, but this is my first color computer that I bought new back in 85 or something like that, 86. It's a Coco 2, or as it's also known as the Coco Do.
Le Coco Do. Le Coco Do.
Yellow.
Strangely, it's getting yellow being in the box. I'm not sure what that's about.
Huh.
Hey, David O'Connor has joined us again. Welcome back, David. Excellent. Brian, anything new and exciting with you this week you want to share with the world?
Yeah, I got a few things here.
Well, I guess I should have specified which Brian.
Oh, Brian, yeah.
We got 2 Brians. All right. So, Brian, the Music Man. Anything new and exciting with you this week?
I got my Boomerang 2 meg shipped and installed, so I'm cranking.
All right. 2 megabytes of memory. Who needs more than that, right? You got memory to spare. That's excellent. L. Curtis Boyle, anything new and exciting with you this week?
Nope.
All right. Short and sweet. Rick Adams, other than snow and ice and other frozen things in the...
Yep, nothing other than we're watching the snow come down, yeah.
There you go.
I installed a new UPS today, but, you don't need to hear about that.
Very
Because
nice.
it doesn't run on a Coco, so...
Here we go. William Carlin says, hey, fellas, lurking and listening while playing Resident Evil 2 Remake. There we go. Mike Craig is here. Tim Franklin's here. What's going on, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We know Brian Weezer does, so we'll save Brian for last. He'll be our show and tell segment. Ron Delvaux, have you posted anything on Facebook this week by any chance?
Only once.
Only once.
I try and keep it low and down to just once.
Under
I admire your
protest.
restraint.
It may be fake news.
Have you done any further work on the new Rainbow? Any new submissions? You have.
I'm slowly moving along. Yep.
Okay.
I'm getting some ads put together and arranging the thing. I'm putting in placards where things are going to go.
Okay.
It's a tedious job. Somebody has to do it, and guess who?
Who you going to call? Timberman.
Yep.
All right. Nah, excellent.
Coming along.
All right, very cool. Nick Marentes, did I see a new blog post, or is that just a?
Yeah. I put up another blog post. Nothing really to show. I mean, I have done a fair bit, but one of the main things I mentioned on that blog is I'm going to start. What do you call that? Doing non-disclosure. Yeah, I'm not show so much of what it is, because I'm getting to the point where there's a lot of the graphics and stuff in Gunstar now. It's sort of the things I want people to discover when they play the game.
So no spoilers.
So it just, if I show too much, it'll just spoil it for those people playing. So I can still talk about it, but I'm not showing as much.
No,
So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
that was my main activity for the week.
Well,
Nick, your voice sounds funny. Do you have a cold?
Oh, I've got a cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it's because he was Australian.
It's a transition from Australian to American.
I thought he just went into a different state in Australia or something.
Yeah.
They picked up a local accent.
Well, I know you're doing a lot with your engine, and you got the multi-plane graphics and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to brag, but I made a scrolling star field that can move behind text. So suck on that, Nick Marentes. Good stuff.
And your game doesn't even require a joystick, Steve.
Yeah, it doesn't require a joystick. Doesn't need a 6309 or 512 or anything.
And it only has one level, right?
Yeah, and not even quite a level yet. But you can't die, so it's perfect. So
Yeah, there you go. Special Steve customized game there.
Bruce Moore, Jacob Moore. Anything new going on in the Moore house this week other than working on Dungeon Crawl?
Nope, nothing so far.
Okay. Good. We're joining us again. I'm not sure if he's muted or unmuted, or if he's still working on it, but David O'Connor's here. Welcome back, David. Okay, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Your lips move, but I can't hear what you say. All right. So, he's working on that. If only these, professional musical guys, knew how to get a microphone or headphones working. If only. So what is Mike Craig saying here? I have 3 guys wearing the same Radio Shack shirt here. It seems like Radio Shack t-shirts are like a virus. Yeah, they very much could be. All right, well, how about we do this while we're waiting on David O'Connor to get his sound check going. We have our show and tell segment. This is a new regular segment now that we're going to call "What Kind of Crap Did Brian Weezer Buy This Week?" So why don't you go ahead and show us what you got going on this week, sir, so we can all be jealous and hate you at the same time.
Oh, well, don't be jealous. It's all there. So, I didn't show this on. I was traveling this past week with work, and had a little bit of time to go check out some of the thrift stores and Goodwill store that was in the area, and this guy was sitting on the shelf there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it was reasonably priced, like $15, and it works just fine. A little yellow, but hey, it works, right? So
nice. Yeah,
so
those you don't see every day.
Nope. So that was kind of a nice little find, and then another item that I also picked up at a thrift store, and it wasn't a Tandy one, but can't always be picky. So
yeah, power. Yeah, those are neat. Those used to go like under the monitor or like in your desk somewhere, and you just kind of turn things on and off.
Then you can flip the different accessories on. So that was kind of nice there.
Do those have the little gas lights?
A little what?
Little gas lights like mine down
here.
That
kind of flickered, like the lamp behind the switch.
Oh, yeah, it does have kind of. Yep, they illuminate when you flip them on.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the neon light.
Yeah, they kind of look flickery a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Like a pilot light, Yeah.
Okay, I guess I have to look a lot closer and see. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then
and those were good with the computers where the computer had like a hard on-off switch. Like a modern PC, even if you switch that on, you'd still have to reach down and push the button on the tower to turn it on. So
yeah.
But that's a cool feature. Yeah.
And then another game that I wanted to add to my collection there.
Ooh, Space Assault. That's nice, clean, pristine.
Yep, there's a nice clean box there on that one. And then another game I don't have in a box yet, but a little.
That is Slay the Nares.
Yes. So I got the manual with it. So
nice.
Nice one. And then Mr. Rick Adams will like this one here.
Ooh, yes.
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
A couple more of those, Rick can buy a new car.
There you go. And then I did share this one on Facebook. I don't know. I just it kind of piqued my curiosity, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Though it was this, it was a book. It was the Color Computer Playground. And it has about 40 different programs. It's more kid based.
Yeah,
but it's a good introduction to programming. So it has a bunch of short little basic programs in there. So it's kind of a neat little book there, just to kind of through. So, yep. They get into graphics and audio and sound and just basic doing arithmetic and everything. So
neat. So it's just all type-ins, right? You type in the program and run it.
Exactly. Yep. So you just kind of has a little tutorial. It talks about what it is, and then goes into the programs.
Okay.
So, a little one. And then one that you kind of teased to last week. You were talking about it, and I found myself too irresistible to pass up, and that was that Coco that you talked about.
The Coco 3. That's clean.
Yep, and it has the 512 disto in it.
Okay.
So, and they didn't have to make an offer, so I made an offer.
Yeah.
And I was able to pick it up for about what some people buy a Coco 2 that's in a box for.
Wow. And so you made an offer and they didn't refuse.
No, they helped me by $10, but then I took it. So
okay.
So that was kind of a
nice
and
I've seen this past week. I've probably seen 2 or 3 Coco 3s. I've seen a Coco 3 with a boomerang board on it. I've seen a Coco 3 with a 512 and 6309. So these past few weeks, Coco 3s have been popping up, and it's weird. You go through some dry spells, but it's been like Coco 3s are on the radar right now on eBay.
Yeah, there's one out there that was like 125. I think someone might have grabbed already. So
yeah, I've seen them, and I'm trying to be a good neighbor and not buy something I don't need. Although I want it. It's like I see it, and it's like I have this like gravity. It's just like must buy. So it's just like it's really hard.
There was kind of nice to get that one, and it in the description it didn't say that it was in a box, but it showed up in a Coco 3 box.
Oh wow! Yeah.
The only downside of the whole purchase was the serial number was not the same on the box. So
okay.
I always like to see the serial number the same, but
yeah, because when you go to return them, that's the first thing they check. So.
And there's some warranty problems.
Exactly. But it is kind of nice, though, when you got the matching serial numbers and everything with the.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so yeah, it was kind of a fun little week when I got back into town and kind of pile of boxes to go through. So
neat. Excellent. I don't know if David's. I see David's got his Coco SDCs behind him. David O'Connor. Looks like his Mega Mini MPIs are there too. Can you hear us, David?
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, good one. Okay, yeah, I just had a few technical glitches here. I've just been trying to get out of the dungeon look and get a decent camera happening and a decent microphone. And I was planning on getting it all set up last night, but I've had a few health issues this week, so sort of a few things got in the way, and one thing went to another, and I'm still setting up. But we're all good now.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad you're here. You're coming in a little hot, so I don't know if you can.
I can pull
that back just a little bit, a little overmodulated there.
Yeah, Dennis Kitts. And Dave O'Connor looks like Dennis Kitts.
You look like a young Dennis Kitts. Yeah. There's Rick Adams' LED display there, the Coco Fest.
Okay, let me try that. Okay, let's pull that level back a little bit now. That should be a little.
Yeah, a little warmer. Yeah, nice. And we have Bill's iPad has just joined us. Bill's iPad, are you there?
Hello.
Is that Bill's iPad?
Yeah, it is.
Siri, order 100 rubber ducks and send to Bill Noble in Saskatchewan, and or Alexa, or whatever it's called. So
and overnight shipping.
Yeah, overnight shipping of 100 rubber ducks to Bill Noble. I approve the purchase. How's it going, Bill?
Oh, pretty good.
Good. You're in the dark, just so you know. So David, you got your Mega MPIs in, right? Your Mega Mini MPIs?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really impressed with the OPL chip, the OPL3 chip, that Yamaha chip. It's I see why everybody was hyping it up. It's actually a really impressive chip.
Nice. Very cool.
And, when I first got them all plugged in, I put the Coco SDCs in, and it would freeze on the loading of the Explorer. And I thought, oh, what's going on here? So it was just an easy fix, though. I just needed to update the Explorer version.
Oh yeah, that was posted. That issue was kind of discovered and I believe fixed. So that's good.
So yeah, I'm going to be as everybody's chatting. I've still got to plug in the audio from the output of the Mega and Mini MPI here. And I've got Ed Snyder's chiptunes player running here, so I'm hoping to run the audio directly into the interface to give some decent, a decent preview of some high quality audio from it.
Yeah, nice. We look forward to that. And Bill Noble, what you been working on? We showed off a week or so ago your ease of use bootloader menu thingy. That looked really cool.
Oh well, that's still the priority right now.
Yeah,
still working on that.
Yeah,
actually, got a little bit of the interface already completed. Starting to work on the actual editor itself for inserting and deleting. Things seem to be going pretty good.
Cool. That's neat. And unfortunately, the menu item's going to have to have about 3 or 4 options for sound drivers and about 9 or 10 options for real-time clocks at this point. So the menu choices continue to grow. Right? And
don't remind me.
I'll be updating this every week.
And would you like fries with that? So. Cool. What else is going on? Anything good in your world there, Bill?
Not much, other than the fact that it's actually starting to warm up.
I hear that.
Frozen north.
Hey, Mark D. Overholzer says, I should be home in a bit. Mike Craig says, I won't say how many Coco 3s I have, but they should last me till I'm dead. That's a good problem to have, right? When your Cocos outlive you, I guess that's a good thing, right? So hopefully they find new homes. So, all right, very, very cool. Yeah, we definitely look forward to hearing some of that chip tunes when it comes up. We do have some news to go over. Maybe we can take a break before we start the news. But have I missed anything? Have we done a good enough job here going around the room saying hi and talking about what we haven't done this week and how the weather is and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. So how about we take a brief, quick break? Let's see what commercial I want to play today. We've heard from Fletcher. Actually, how about we're going to do this? We are going to go ahead and play a Boomerang commercial since Brian Schubring mentioned he got his Boomerang in. So how about we run a commercial here for Boomerang, and we'll be back in just a moment, kids. That phone while you're there, so don't mind me. Go ahead and take the call. We're all good. Here we go. Let's try Boomerang. Take 2.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tim. Playing Daggerith like that idiot from the book. You're watching CoCoTALK.
Radio Shack, the TRS-80 Model 3. And at $200 off, it's a great value. Select from Radio Shack's huge program library to aid your children's education, plan your personal and household budgets, or to entertain with fast-action games. You can even learn to write programs. The TRS-80 Model 3, on sale for $7.99, only at Radio Shack and Radio Shack Computer Centers, the computer experts.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
All right, and we're back. Welcome to CoCoTALK. We're here, and
I got a question.
Yes.
Hey, how many people here actually do their bills and stuff on the spreadsheet? Anybody? We do.
Well, you're going to be more specific on a spreadsheet on the Coco, or just on a spreadsheet in general?
No, on a PC.
Oh, you mean like using a spreadsheet?
Yeah.
To do your personal
Because,
finances?
we just saw a commercial, and back in the 80s, they did it on their computer.
Yep.
Do you still do it today on a spreadsheet? Anyone?
Yeah, actually we do. I do have a poor man's checkbook register that I do have on a spreadsheet. And it's only as good as how often you update it, and it's not linked to anything. So yeah. Matter of fact, when I learned how to use a spreadsheet, that was the example somebody showed me. They showed me how to do a simple checkbook register with formulas. And that's kind of that was my introduction to Excel back in like the Windows 3 days. Somebody showed me how to use Excel and do a simple check register, and that was how I got started in spreadsheets. So yeah, I still do that.
You didn't get in on the old VisiCalc days?
No, I missed. I wasn't really interested in spreadsheets at all during the Coco time. I was zero productivity was, a concern of mine. So
yeah, because we had a few. We had a Spectaculator. We had Dino
Calc.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was what sold. Those were the killer apps that sold computers, were spreadsheets like VisiCalc, and later on Lotus 123, Spectaculator, whatever it was.
We had those integrated suites too, like the Elite series, which had Elite Calc and Elite Word, and we also had VIP.
Right.
There was quite a bit.
Yeah. And then DeskMate, and later on Microsoft Works, and then Microsoft Office. But yeah, the spreadsheet and the word processors were the killer apps that sold business machines. This gave you a reason to use the machine because you can now do something with it.
Yeah, I remember Rainbow published one they called Mini Calc, whatever you could fit onto one screen. So I think it was like 3 columns by 12 rows or something. That's all you could do on it, but it did work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that Coco 2 commercial. Honey, can you help me with this budget, please? Shut up, bitch. That's
2 years
right.
after the divorce.
Yes, how about a new game, Dad? You whiny, sufferable. Go get a job, freeloader.
We need another Coco 3.
Right? And when I was a kid, all I had was a shortwave. So, so I that might be uncommon, because I think most people do it either online or, online banking, or maybe like a, what the hell do they call that program? Quicken or something like that, So, cool. All right. Well, who joined that we have not spoken? Everybody's still here, so nobody new. All right. Well, we can jump in, and this is good. I think I almost feel like we're running out of show when we barely just got started. But there is news. There are things to discuss. So in order to do that, we should play a little clip here from L. Curtis Boyle here. So let's try that right now. Woo! Rock out, baby. All right, why? Now, this is the weird part. What the hell's going on here with this frickin' thing? Lord have mercy. All right, so here's one of the things I came across on Facebook. Was a question, and I thought maybe this is a good topic, but this came from Jario. And he says, just out of curiosity, why was Jordan Mechner's Karateka never ported to the Coco 1 or 2? And I don't know if anybody knows the actual answer, if it's more theory than opinion, but that was a cool game, Karateka, for those who remember it. That and Prince of Persia both had really good kind of cell style animation and were kind of popular household names and games for the time. But why was it never on the Coco? Just something Tandy wouldn't be interested in, or they weren't, whoever made the games wasn't interested in the Coco? You guys have any theories? Or
Is this a Coco 1 or 2 era game or a Coco 3 era game?
It was on the Apple II.
No, but when was it released? Like, when would it have been ported? If
When
it
was
had been?
Karateka and Prince of Persia out? Early, in the early 80s.
Yeah, so if it's Coco 1 and 2, Tandy at that time wasn't really willing on licensing too much stuff. They barely licensed anything at all. I mean, had Zaxxon, Huyan, and Poltergeist.
Yeah.
So,
And it could be that. And now, were those Broderbund, or how do you say that company name? I don't even know. Broder. I'm not sure. But was it that company that released them?
Which
one?
Remember? Which game?
The Karateka and the Prince of Persia. I think they're both made by the same guy. Wasn't it Jordan Mechner? Didn't he do them both? Or no?
Which publisher actually did those?
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering if that publisher was more into the 6502 type machines, and they didn't have guys who worked on the 6809 too. And it seems like some of those games that were on those systems, all those systems had the same CPU, so it was somewhat easier to maybe port the code from platform to platform.
I think it was more licensing issues because nobody would be willing to pay for the license at that point. I mean, Broderbund, whatever you want to call it there. When the Coco 3 came out, then they started getting interested in the Tandy, because then we did start getting stuff like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? That's a Broderbund title.
Okay. All right.
Example.
So it might just been timing.
Yeah.
It could have been a combination of the Coco not being either recognized or respected at the time, and Tandy just being too cheap. Any combination of those two.
Yeah.
Is a probability. But would that be interesting to port today? I would say absolutely. Like, we've got the guy in Australia, Nick's neighbor. Nick, look out your other window. Who's the guy who ported Load Runner from the Apple? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Mark McDougall.
Mark McDougall. Mark has ported a bunch of stuff. So if anybody could do that, maybe Mark could port an Apple. Listen, it's an Apple. If it can run on an Apple, it can run on a Coco 3, right? That should be a given. So, but that would be kind of neat to maybe see that ported, one of those transcodes where they just transcode the whole program and it runs natively. So, or something like that. I know we had a game called Karate Man or Karate Dude or something, or was it just called Karate?
Wait, Kung Fu Dude, is that the one you're
Kung Fu? Well, there was a Dicom, right? So it was kind of more like the arcade game, right? Where you had a two-player.
That's Karate. That's Karate by Dicom. Kung Fu Dude is by.
Okay. So we've had one or two kind of fight-ish games on the Coco. I don't think any of the fighting games really blew us away with.
Yeah, Kim Guy to be Ninja is probably the best one. The Coco 3 required for that one. So.
Okay. So that was an interesting question. I don't know if we know the real answer, but it never came to pass. But that might be a good project for somebody to do, either to transcode it, create your own reimagining, or just make a new game inspired by that. It'd be kind of cool to see on the Coco. Did anybody ever play Karateka back in the day?
I'd have to take a look at it because I'm not connecting.
I mean,
with
you start off. It's very Asian looking. It's got like the big frames above you, and you're always like running from left to right. And the cell animation of the guy running and fighting was very good. So it was kind of a 2D. I wouldn't call it a full screen scrolling, but you left the screen and it kind of scrolled to another one, or I don't kind of remember. But it was a really cool looking game for its time. Visually, really good. The fight sequences were cool. So yeah. Anyways, matter of fact, I remember getting it on the on my Atari 7800. I got it on a cartridge, and I tried playing it, and it was just really hard to figure out how to play with a joystick. It was probably one of those games that was better geared towards having certain keys on a keyboard to mash for certain things. Here we go. This is a plug for Jason Reichard, the Coco Man switcheroo cable, but Derek Green posted a picture saying how impressed he is with his switcheroo. So he got his switcheroo running. There's a picture of the Coco looking clean. It's a picture of Rampage on the Coco 3. The one thing, and this is maybe just me and an OCD thing, I don't like it when you put things on a widescreen TV and they kind of stretch them. So I usually go through
I'm not a fan of that myself.
Yeah, I kind of go through the menus and tweak the aspect ratios to where they don't get stretched because I don't know, just not a fan of that. But that's just me. But yeah, like for example, Rampage is much wider than it probably would have been on a 4x3 screen. But yeah, the clarity and the color on this look really, really good, right? There were some discussions on Ed Snyder's Gimme X2, and so having that kind of clean VGA output would be kind of cool as well. So that looks cool. Yeah, everything I do on my Coco 3 now, I'm doing through the switcheroo, so I'm a fan. One of my favorite PCs. This is my second Coco. My first Coco was the silver one. My second Coco was this model right here, right? So the white 64K Coco 1, the flagship Coco of the time. Oh, Ken Reichert says, Jason is my favorite brother. That's good. So it says, finally pick up the white model. Been searching one of these for ages. Needs to be retro brighted and repaired as it doesn't turn on. Okay. Well, hopefully that's an easy fix. But yeah, it's even got the melty keys on it. The keyboard looks pretty shiny. So that looks good. Yeah, that computer is pretty near and dear to me. That was I spent a lot of years beating on that 64K Coco.
And it's one of the rarer ones, too, because it was kind of the transition piece between the Coco 1 and the Coco 2.
Yeah. Here's Ron Delvaux showing off his. There you go. And here is, Coco 1. There's a silver Coco 1. Look at these. We got two. What's the difference here? Oh, this one has, I don't know if that's a custom job with the harder keys. I don't know if they actually released a hard key version of the white Coco 1.
I don't recall it.
Because this didn't come out till later Coco 2. So maybe this was a keyboard swap.
Yeah, because the first Coco 2s came with melted keyboards, too.
Unless maybe this might be the... I believe in Australia or Europe, they released this model as the Coco 2. And they actually called it that. So I'm not sure.
Coco Do.
Coco Do. Le Coco Do. All right, here's a nice picture of it. Yeah. It sure is a purty machine. I'm lucky I have one. I have one in my collection, and I'm very happy about that. So that's cool. That's Chris who posted that. That looks neat. Tony Pedraza letting us know on the Glenside Color Computer Facebook group. He's letting us know that there's less than 60 days until Coco Fest 2019 at Heron Point in Lombard, Illinois. There are only 2 more exhibitor tables left in the main room, but there is overflow space available, and there are places to call home if you want to rent a small spot. GlensideCCC.com is the website there. May the 4th, right? May 4th. May the 4th be with you, right? So that's the weekend, May 4th and 5th. So if you were thinking about getting a table, then you might want to get that table. Brian Weasler, what did you just post? Oh, is that Karateka? Oh, you got a video for Karateka. Okay, so we'll pull that up.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm not sure.
And so this is old news at this point. This was Brian Weasler showing us his thrift store finds. That's old news at this point. Another one here. Here's a question. Brian Weasler just stirring the shit pot here, but he's saying my Coco is better than your computer. Prove me wrong, right? So, and he's just saying that he felt like a lot of the games on the Coco were just better than some of the 8-bit contemporaries. So an interesting discussion ensued from there. And what I thought was neat was basically Nick Marentes showing some side-by-side pictures. And sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, but you can see here that the Commodore I think these were all compared to the C64, Nick. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So when you've got 16 real colors, it's hard to compare sometimes. But I would say for only having 4 colors, we did a pretty good job. And when I say we, obviously the guy who made the game, but
he's been on the show. So
yes. So, so I mean the Coco verse. When you look, Sailor Man was a very well done game.
It's the best.
Yeah, and so sometimes even having the colors and the sprites, did the games have good quality gameplay? And I think maybe what we might not have had visually, I think in gameplay, a lot of the Coco games really just had a good feel to them, very solid professional feel to how they played.
It also depends if you're comparing Coco 1 and 2 with the C64, if you're comparing the Coco 3, because they're kind of like 3-year offsets. I think it was 1980, the Coco 1 came out, 1983, the C64 came out, 1986, the Coco 3 came out. Like I compared our Gauntlet 2 with the Apple II and the C64 versions, and we stomped the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Speed-wise, color-wise, you name it. But that's Coco 3, so.
Right. That would like I know it's not a completely technologically accurate comparison, but the Coco 3 to the Apple II is kind of like the Apple II GS in a sense. You know, it's a better graphics chip anyways. So it would be like saying a game on the GS comparing that to the Apple II. It's going to be better. But yeah, I mean, visually the C64 seems to win each time in these screenshots. Just the color palettes and having more colors on screen definitely look better. I never played any games on the C64, so I can't tell you how well Zaxxon played. But yeah, the Puyan was probably one of the worst choices in colors. However, that being said, the sprites looked very well, and this is my least favorite color set ever. But for whatever reason, they pulled it off and made it work. And other than the colors kind of hurting your eyes, the contrast of the white wolves and pigs on the weird fuchsia backgrounds, you could see everything, and nothing kind of got lost. Like even on the blue and green screen, sometimes the blue and red kind of got lost on the TVs, you know, because they were such dark colors, there wasn't a lot of contrast between them. So despite the odd palette, I think this game worked. But the one on the right looks better, and we've got a patched version of this, right, for the Coco 3 where they fixed where they fixed those palettes.
And the Coco VGA is capable of changing them too.
Interesting.
And the irony is that the color set, the green, the other alternate color
the red,
set
green, and blue
would have suited Puyan better.
Yeah, because that would have what it closer resembled.
It would have been really good, but yeah.
Yeah. So why they chose that?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to mention, like, there's some others were mentioned, including myself, like Sea Dragon. The Coco version is actually better than a lot of the other 8-bits at the time.
Okay.
Donkey King was one of the best Donkey Kongs, one of the few that had all 4 levels.
Yep.
So there's a few that we did. Time Bandit's another one.
Yeah, Time Bandit was a good game.
Cashman, I think, will rival Jumpman on the C64.
Okay. Fair enough. And yeah, maybe there's a little bit of bias here with us being Coco guys. Maybe being a little bit more favoritive of the Coco versions of these games, but you got to be fair is fair.
Yeah. And you got to compare the technology too. Like if you're talking about a computer, created 3 years before.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. So let's talk about Canyon Climber. Right. So Canyon Climber on the Atari 800 looked better. However, it was slow. It was god awful slow. Like on our Canyon Climber, especially when the more you play, the faster it gets, and you can climb up those ladders like blah, 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 and you're just like boom, you're up the ladder. The Atari never reached that speed. Now, did they intentionally slow it down? I don't know. I didn't write the software, but it just felt like something I did in BASIC half the time. It's just like this really sluggish animation of doing jumps, and the ladder climbing was never that good. So. Yeah, Nick Marotta says that Donkey King is one of the few with the Pi level. Yeah, at that time, especially on home computers. Absolutely. So cool stuff. The Joust games in the Coco, I really enjoyed all of them. They all had something nice about them, but they were all fun and playable. So I like the Coco Joust games. I don't know that we had any Coco Pac-Man that completely blew me away, but they were all playable, fun games. Probably Miss Maze was one of the better ones with the polish, having all 4 mazes and the music and stuff. What else comes to mind?
Until the Coco 3 stuff came out.
Right. So yeah, it's like picking your favorite Coco game. I mean, I must say Zaxxon was good, right? And in the 2 big kind of holy grail games of like 1983, 1984 were the ColecoVision versions of Zaxxon and Donkey Kong. And both of ours kicked the crap out of both of those, right? And so our Donkey Kong was better than ColecoVision's, and our Zaxxon was better than ColecoVision's, even though it didn't have the colors. It just looked and played a little better. So those were some proud moments back in the day. I think our Canyon Climber played better. Maybe it wasn't as colorful, but I think it was a faster. You could fly through those levels, maybe too fast sometimes. I've never really seen Megabug other than screenshots. I know there was Dung Beetle and a few other versions of Megabug, but I can't really see that game being dramatically different on any platform. No, I'm not sure.
If I remember, the Apple II version for sure was a lot slower, but the Apple II is also a lot older hardware base than even the Coco is. So
Yeah. So Brian Weezer says the Coco just did it better. Prove me wrong. Anybody have any contrary opinions here, saying somebody else did it better than the Coco? Because I'll just find that hang
Brian,
up button.
since you're the one who brought up the question, what would you be your prime examples of this?
Myself?
Yeah.
I like the Zaxxon. That was probably one of my favorite games, I guess. So that's the one I was kind of referring to there. I enjoy playing that game, and
Yeah.
and it kind of takes me back to the arcade days, because that was a game that I enjoyed playing at the arcades, and also enjoyed it on the color computer. So that was probably my game of choice there on that one. So
Galagon was pretty damn good. Galagon was pretty spot on with all the levels and the challenging stages and everything. Spectral Associates. That was a good one. Our Berserk was damn good. The original Berserk.
Yeah, the original Mark Data one was actually quite close.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the first ones. That one and Astro Blast were the first P Mode 4 artifacting games I ever saw.
Yeah.
Astro Blast just blew me away. And that's a clone of Astro Fighter in the arcade, not Astro Blaster.
Right. Yeah, and Nick Marota's pointing out that, ColecoVision had Donkey Kong on the right-hand side of the screen instead of the left, which was just literally backwards from how the game was. But they
and
just
only
figured,
6 girders, too, instead of 7.
Yeah, and they're like, well, the screen's shorter. We don't have the imagination to scale anything, so we'll just cut a third of it away. And it just worked out where that last one was going the opposite direction. So screw it, he's on the other side. And it is what it is, right? So yeah. Quicks was good. Yeah, our Quicks games were good. I mean, Space Invaders games were good. Our Asteroids games were good. I mean, Asteroids is pretty straightforward of a game, but Microbes was a pretty good Asteroids game. You freaking Polaris.
Yeah,
Polaris,
that was one of the best
4K missile command with only 4 colors.
And one of the few that supported having your separate bases, which actually was advantageous because you could shoot a shorter
different keys. Yeah, there were 3 different keys you used to shoot that with.
Because everybody else kind of modeled the Atari 2600 version, which was a pain in the butt compared to
you press one button and anyone will shoot towards the thing, right?
Yeah.
Polaris was damn good for 4K. Oh, but Dino Wars. Nobody had Dino Wars, so.
And Protectors too. I compared ours with the Commodore 64, and some of the graphics are a little bit smoother, but some of ours were smoother, and ours actually was, ironically enough, was more colorful because of the graphics mode they used. I guess I should have put up screenshots like Nick did. I just looked at a few of them on YouTube.
Yeah. And there is a link to Karateka. Let me pull that up real quick. Hopefully we won't get a copyright bug for this. Oh, this is the Coco karate game here. So this is karate for this is our friend in Germany, High Retro Game Lord, right? So this is the Coco karate game, written by Dave Dyes, distributed by Dicom Products, right? So we can turn that down just a bit, huh? So here we go. Actually, this, other than being a little slow, that's not bad. Ooh, look at that. It's like single cell animation. First he's down.
That's what our viewers feel like.
Yeah. He's completely on the ground. Now he's up in the air. I'm like, yeah, so really sluggish, right? Boom. Yeah, painfully slow. But it looks pretty good. Pretty tall character. So this is a good example of what Karateka does not look like. So
wasn't sure about that one. So.
Yeah. So Brian Weasler says the Coco just did it better on a lot of games. I think a lot of us will agree, even if we're biased, right? Root Beer Tapper was great. Nick Marota saying, hey, Matt City is here. What's Matt City's saying here? Or Matt Chi, CHY. Matt, okay. Datasoft had 15 programs for 4 systems. 15 programmers for 4 systems. Wow. Yeah, Datasoft cranked some stuff out, right? So, all right, Rogelio, or we'll call him Roger, right? So we need to get him on the show. He was saying all the talk about real-time clocks on the Coco. Remember seeing something like this a long time ago. The November 1984 issue of the Rainbow Speech Systems Precision Time Manual. And he says the documentation for this are in the Color Computer archive. So now your computer will always know the correct date and time. This amazing precision time module is calibrated to the National Bureau of Standards atomic clock, and you'll never have to change it, right? Using the precision time module to add time element to your game or use on a BBS so that the time will always be perfectly accurate. With a battery backup, now how much would you pay?
This sounds like it was custom written for David Ladd.
Yeah, right? Even when your computer is off, the clock keeps correct time by operating using the internal battery backup system. Months, leap years, and days. What's DAT? Daylight savings time. The precision time module automatically adjusts for the different number of days in each month, as well as leap years. And believe it or not, it adjusts for daylight savings time, so you won't have to remember to spring forward or fall back. Although it probably hasn't been updated since we changed that back in 2006, right? So, but for $49.95, this product was, David Ladd. This was screaming David Ladd right here, right? So, yeah. Now
that was one of several. We had ones from AlphaSoft / Colorware. They sold one for their A-Bus systems. Birkenberg had the smartwatch option for the Birkenberg hard drive controller. So we had multiple of these. Disto had one that they used to do in their 3-in-1 and 4-in-1 boards for the supercontroller too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this one is synchronized to the global thermal geosynchronous atomic real-time clock of I don't know, something or another. So yeah, that sounds pretty freaking awesome. And this was $50 back in the day. So cool stuff. So we will have many sound chips. We'll have more sound chips. I'm not saying sound chips, but time clocks. We're gonna have more real-time clocks than sound chips in the near future. So look forward to that. Now, here's a cool picture. Ed Snyder's Mega Mini MPI, and maybe we'll hear some of this on the show tonight too. So this was a post from Mark saying, "A Mega Mini MPI showed up today. I couldn't resist filling up the slots and taking a picture." That sounds like something David Ladd would do.
Yeah, I would.
So
Only 4, what?
Only 4 slots. Yeah, it looks good next to the Coco. It actually doesn't make these cartridges stand up too much higher. It's a little lower to the ground, so maybe your clearance might be a little less with this than a real MPI. So that looks good. It's good to see some of these getting out there. People picking up the Mega Mini MPIs. It's like, listen, all the cool kids are doing it. I'm probably gonna have to break down and get one too, right? So now this one was posted. I'm not gonna play the video because YouTube will find a way to screw me, and they always do. However, this was a cool series called Abandoned, and this is showing off some of the abandoned Radio Shack stores, and then it gets into the Tandy history. And this is a 17-minute video, so it's called Bright Sun Films, and you're going to see some stuff about what abandoned Radio Shack stores look like. So I'm posting that link in the live chat if you want to see it. Bookmark it, watch it later. But you can kind of see here, they're showing that, we went from thousands of stores to now empty stores, and then they get into the Tandy story. I can tell you a little bit about how Radio Shack started, and then I guess he's going to talk about what they did and then how they all went crashing and burning, right? So probably a cool thing to watch when you got 18 minutes to burn. So check that out. I just posted the link in the live chat. Now, Curtis had posted this one too. This guy posted a message in the mailing list recently, right? Curtis, is that where this came from?
That is correct.
And so you had mentioned, so he's here. I'm going to try to read what you posted in Discord from the Coco mailing list. This is a gentleman by the name of, what is his name? David Johnson. M. David Johnson. A 3-initial guy too, right? So he's saying, when the Rainbow folded back in '93, I thought the Coco was dead. I became involved in other stuff and forgot about it. Now I find out that Coco and Glenside and Coco Fest are still alive and well, and it's right here in my own backyard. I should have paid more attention. One of the first things that caught my eye was the CF83 4th on the archives, but the file there is only the demo disc. The full 4th package is now up and available for free download on my newly registered website, BDS-Soft. BDS Software. So this is M. David Johnson. And he should put this on the Color Computer Archive, unless he wrote it. Did he write it? Is he the author of this, or is he just a holder of a copy of it?
I'm not sure. I couldn't quite tell from his post. He did mention that he'd seen that the software's there, but it was the demo version, and he has the actual full one. So I don't know if that means he just had purchased it and had it kicking around, or if that meant that he was the original author. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, either way, I mean, if it would be nice if he's making it available on his website, then it says free for all. See this software license. So let's see what his software license says. The new software license applies to all software found on this site and supersedes all software which has previously been. All software documentation and information is available free download without cost, whether you download such an item. BDS former software. Okay, so I'm still not clear. He does mention Jesus Christ here, though. So whether you download such items directly from the site or obtained from any other means, you are hereby licensed to copy them, to sell or give away such copies, to use them, except any way whatsoever, so long as nothing you do with them would I can't read. The name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Okay, so as long as you don't take Jesus' name in vain, I guess you're okay here, right? So, so anyways, it looks like we've got a copy of Fourth on here. If you want to get Fourth, go Fourth and get yourself some Fourth. Maybe we need to reach out to this guy and ask him, hey, are you the author? Or are you just now somebody who's passing this along? If he is the author.
Sounds like he's coming to the fest too, which is cool.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that will be cool. So that is M. David Johnson.
Did you look at the Color Computer page?
No.
It says in the 1990s, it developed and BDS software marketed a 1983 standard Fourth for the Coco.
Oh, he's the guy who did it?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So he's the guy. So he is the guy. So yeah, we should probably reach out to him. Matter of fact, it was... It wasn't something that, God, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Who's the guy who's doing Long Branch Never? Paul Fiscarelli. So yep. Remember Paul Fiscarelli found a bunch of stuff and it was possibly a Fourth compiler or something like that. So I don't know if that's related to it at all or not.
Yeah, we had multiple Fourth compilers. Like I know there was one, what the heck was the name of the company? Hoyt Stearns Electronics, because Dwayne Downing had a copy of that one and he fiddled with it for a bit. There was another version of Fourth for OS 9 at one point. So there's been at least 3 or 4 different versions of Fourth on the Coco that I know of.
Okay. And hey, we've been joined by Mark D. Overholzer. Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm back.
You're back. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, things have come up.
And Jim Gary has joined us too. Hey, Jim Gary, how's it going, eh? So your priorities obviously have not been in the right order by being absent for many weeks in a row, Mark D. Overholzer, but we would expect nothing less from an Apple guy. So
now we can start dissing those Apple II games again.
Us
been busy working on the Rainbow magazine, I'd imagine.
yeah, Ron had mentioned that. You got Mark Overholzer and Ron combined. You guys want to give us an official update on Rainbow?
I'll throw Ron under the bus. Let him go first.
Well, he kind of did. Yeah, he did, but I don't know that David O'Connor heard it. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear it, so.
Yeah. You want to do a quick recap on that, Ron?
Yeah, he's been reviewing the articles, and he sets them up on our group we have, and then I download them, and I'm arranging them into a PDF, and soon to be ready for production down the road in a paper form. So I'm in the process of compiling things and putting them together, and it's a slow, arduous process, but it's coming along.
There you go.
I've got 20-some pages so far,
Excellent.
We've got a David Ladd sighting. He's in YouTube right now as CoCoTALK. Hey, David, what have you been up to, David?
Oh, I'm much happier breaking stuff.
Oh, okay, David's been breaking stuff. All right, that's good. Jim Gary, how many games have you ported to the MC10 this week? And you're muted, so we can't hear you just yet.
Apparently he's busy porting even as we speak.
This is the sound of Jim Gary unmuting his software, ladies and gentlemen. So. There we go. He's unmuted. We hear you now.
Okay. I don't think I've done anything this week, but I've started a project.
Oh, okay. You started a project. Okay. Well, we'll catch you some slack.
I'm making a platformer for Retro Challenge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look forward to
You're programming something in BASIC?
Yeah, I'm working on phase 2 of Cosmic Aliens. It's going to be all kind of text-based. So just using literally like letters and symbols and stuff. No graphics at all.
He's waiting till you finish so he can port it.
Yeah, well, this should be fairly portable.
I'll scale it.
Yeah. Actually, it would be an honor to see it on the MC10 when it's done. Are there ways to peek the keyboard in the MC10 if you hold down a key, like arrow keys and stuff?
Yeah, you use you peak 2 and peak 17023, I think.
All right.
Well,
Well,
and those. Yeah, and you get a rollover.
You got to peek 2 values, huh?
Yeah, that's peak 2 values and add them.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sounds good.
Your intro screen on that, Steve, the one where it draws the each line horizontally in columns, the inverse. Did you get my thing about the about using a text string there instead of using?
Well, yes, but there's number one, that character can't be printed without changing things because it's inverted. It's an inverse character, and the only way you can get the inverse on the screen is to poke them. Unless you screw with the VDG and you could just inverse everything. But the other reason why that is being done that way is because as you're seeing it paint in the screen, that's actually as I'm building my tables. So I'm just giving you something visual as the table's being. I had to build that table so I have all the XY coordinates of the screen, and so that was just visualizing that.
But that makes sense. Yeah.
So,
So he sent you something that was upside down.
Screenshot of the Coco versus originals here. What is this? L. Curtis Boyle. Oh, that's Curtis's website, right? So we can switch back over to that real quick. Curtis has
hardly complete, but at least gives you a comparison between the Coco versions 1, 2, or 3 versus the original arcade. It doesn't compare with the other platforms.
Right. So for example, this I need to unzoom this a little bit. You don't hear her say this too often, but it's actually too big right now. So this is the arcade version of 1942. 1942 that came out in 1984. Let that sink in for a minute. And then we have Fighter Pilot. Okay. There's Amadar, which was released as Cuthbert Goes Walkabout, which I have never seen, but that looks cool, and I might want to play that. And then there's obviously Asteroids, and then we've got Color Meteoroids, which was then later renamed to Microbes. And then there is Star Blaster, which actually looks halfway decent.
Yeah, that one's kind of a mix. It's a mix between standard Asteroids and Asteroids Deluxe because it adds shields and stuff.
Okay, shields. Okay.
Shields, but other stuff too.
Then we had a arcade game called Astro Fighter, and then we have a Coco clone called Astro Blast, looking rather good there. Avalanche from the arcade. And then this is obviously Popcorn. And then Ketchum was a derivative of that. And then we had something like Able Builders. This was, was that another? These are somewhat clones or derivatives of that game. Okay. All right. Then we get into Bagman. And then we have Baggett Man, which was pretty damn good. And if you look at the colors here, we're not really off by much. Bagman didn't have too many more colors than we had, so not a bad deal there. The original Berserk, and then we also obviously had Berserk, later renamed to Haywire. Android Attack, which was kind of weird. And then Monster Maze, which I originally wasn't a huge fan of, but at the time I didn't realize this, and this was only done in 4K. And this was an early game before anybody knew how to program on the Coco. When you factor all that in, it's fairly impressive. But the picking up of the prize, picking up that little stack of gold bars, whatever, is an interesting feature, right? So we had a handful of those. Then we had games like from the arcade Bosconian, and of course Draconian, which in a way is slightly better.
Play-wise, it's superior. Having to rescue the astronauts really added an extra element that the original did not.
Yeah, and then having the giant dragon come up on screen was pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
Right. Burger Time in the arcade, and then we had Lunchtime.
Oh, gotta go. I'm hungry.
Yeah. Right. Then we had Carnival, which was cloned to Shooting Gallery, similar. Right. What is this? Oh, Centipede. Were there any Centipede games on the Coco? That's a rhetorical question, right? So, probably one of the better ones, Intracolor, called Colorpede. Yeah, the Intracolor games were pretty damn good. They had one that was also a clone of the Robotron, right?
Yeah, Robotech.
Caterpillar, Color Caterpillar, Slay the Nerees, Caterpillar Attack, Megapede, and Wiggle Worm, right? So numbers of those. Circus Atari, or just Circus, and obviously Clowns and Balloons. We had a columns game on the Sega, and that was actually made by our very own John Strong, right? Called Gems. Looking good. Original arcade of Contra, and then we got a clone that was actually more closely to the NES version, right?
Yep.
More inspired by the NES version, but damn good looking game. Arcade game called Crash. We had one called Rally. Crystal Castles. We had Crystal Castles.
Spelled slightly differently though, so it wasn't imposing on any copyright.
There you go. Yes, TLE. Now here you can see obviously the arcade graphics and colors versus the Coco did leave a huge to be desired there, right? Then we have Dig Dug, Pump Man, and Donkey Kong, and then we had Donkey Kong 2007 Coco 3 version, Donkey Kong the King, Donkey King the King, Donkey Monkey, Monkey Kong. There you go, Canyon Climber, which was somewhat of a derivative of kind of derived from Donkey Kong, and then Donkey Kong Jr. We had Junior's Revenge, and Return of Junior's Revenge. And the list goes on, right? So I never knew this game existed, but Electric Yo-Yo, I didn't know that was a thing because I always thought Beam Rider was just a completely original game. Food Fight, we had Food War. Galaga, we had Galagon. Xenix was kind of a Galaga-ish clone. Galaxian, we had Birds and Galactic Attack and Galax Attacks and Space Ambush and Glaxons and Glaxon, Glaxoff. Space Hawk. Gauntlet 2 from the arcade. We had Gantlet 2. Very different name, completely. Gantlet. It's like that's how they pronounce it in Baston, right? When you're done packing the car, we're gonna play some Gantlet over here. Ikari Warriors. We had Russian Assaults, Joust. We had multiple Jousts, Buzzard Bait, Lancer, Pegasus, and the Phantom Riders. The Karate Champ. We had Karate.
That's what you showed earlier, actually.
Yeah, Ladybug, we had Doodlebug, and Marble Madness, we had Marble Maze, and Those Darn Marbles, which looks good. I could never get this to work. I must have bad disc images of this. I've never seen Those Darn Marbles. I'd like to see it one day. Millipede, we had Kingpede, and Monaco GP, we had Morocco GP, and Mr. Do, we had Mr. Dig, and Nibbler, we had Buzzworm, and Rat Attack. And Omega Race, we had Space Race. The list goes on. Paperboy, we had Paper Route. Phoenix, we had Demon Seed. And Popeye, we had Sailor Man. And Punch Out, we had a Punch Out clone called Knockout. Was this a Dicom as well? That looks like a Dicom game. Yeah, that actually looks halfway decent, right? Quicks, we had a couple different Quickses. So we had QX and Quicks. And Arex, we had Crazy Painter. Rastan, we had Warrior King. Somehow it looks like, listen, you got 5% of the screen real estate there, but what are you going to do, right? So Scramble, we had Scramble with a K, right? I like my eggs scrambled. Whirlybird Run and Chopper Strike and Sinistar. Yeah, this was a fun game. I played that one on the Coco 3. That was a good one.
The arcade one is way faster, though.
Oh, okay, I could imagine, right? So Space Encounters was cloned, known as the Force or Intergalactic Force. We have a Tempest clone that's called Storm in semi-graphics mode, which actually plays very well. We had a couple of Tron clones. We had Electron and Kron. Track and Field, we had a couple of Track and Field clones. We had a Venture clone called Montezuma's Dungeons and Venturer. We had a Warlords clone called War Kings and Castle Guard. Zaxxon, we had Zaxxund and Z89. Cool. Yeah. So that's a list that Curtis made quite some time ago, and I'm sure there's probably
there's tons missing.
A few more at this point. But,
I do have a ongoing list of stuff to add on that. So
yeah,
you need that. I've got a whole bunch of those made in BASIC. You need to compare those too, I think.
Yeah, we need to add the Jim Garrett.
I need a special MC10 section.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Anybody remember a game called Stellar Lifeline?
Oh yeah.
Steve Yorks.
That was one of my favorite games. I was never a really big gamer, but Tetris and Stellar Lifeline were probably my two favorite games.
Wow,
and,
cool.
And as far as I know, Stellar Lifeline's an original. I don't think that's a clone of anything.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next. Was it a clone? Because I don't remember it being in the arcades anywhere.
No, because you were kind of like you had to escort the convoy to the finish line, right? And kind of sometimes move ahead and take off the incoming bad guys and stuff. Yeah, it was different.
And then they'd sneak up on behind, and it was quite a good. It was a strategy game because they'd sneak up from behind. You'd get used to being in front, saving the convoy in front, and then one would come up out of nowhere, just out from behind, and they were the ones that were most difficult to find.
And some of your enemies would like blow up the convoy, and others would steal them and drag them back the other direction. So you'd get your convoy split up all over the place, and you have to try to decide which part you're going to try to save.
I had a cartridge of it. It's still probably floating around here somewhere, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was just really relieved to find it on the Coco archive.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a game for the TRS-80. Maybe it's called like Rear Guard or something like that.
There is a rear guard for the Coco. That was officially from Adventure International. It's on my site too, rear guard. But you're not escorting a convoy in rear guard. You're just basically shooting behind yourself at aliens and stuff.
No, we have a question from Perry in YouTube saying, did anybody play P-51 Mustang Attack over the modem? So has anybody played the?
I did way back. And I wasn't very good at flight simulators in general, so I didn't do too well on it, but we did get it working.
Yeah.
Yep, we got it working.
That was Bill's
Me and
iPad.
Daryl actually got it working. Curtis.
And I know somebody recently on Facebook, like within the last year, said that they got it working too, between two Cocos directly.
That might be something to try with all these ESP Wi-Fi modules now at this point too, where you can play against somebody over the internets. You know?
Yeah, if it simulates the modem properly and works on the bitbanger, because it's hard coded for the bitbanger at 300 or 1200 baud, I can't remember.
He said bitbanger. Yeah. Cool. Very, very cool. So David, are you in a position now to woe us with some of the chiptunes player stuff from the Mega Mini MPI, or?
Yeah, I've got it plugged in. I'll just set my audio level to automatic and just make sure we don't overload things here. So
let's hear some of the Ed Snyder goodies coming out of this new Mega MPI.
All right, I've got one track here that seems to be a pretty good demo of what it can do, and I've got it running with the audio spectrum analyzer once again.
Nice.
This is on the Coco 1. You're running this, right? Not a Coco 3?
Yes. Yeah. So, Ed's sent me a couple of 6309s to replace the 6809s, and got them in both of the Cocos now to run with the Mega Mini MPIs. So, let's just, if I do this, hopefully my microphone's not going to...
It's not coming through your mixer, though.
No, you're not hearing that.
No. I did see the audio spectrum analyzer go off, though. That was cool.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Yeah, all right. Give me a couple of minutes to discuss something else for a second. All
right. We'll do that.
I've got to my mixer. I know what I've done wrong here.
I will run another commercial. Let's see. We ran a Boomerang commercial. We're going to run 2 commercials. That way, if anybody has to go potty, we can do that. So we're going to start off with a switcheroo commercial, and then we're going to do a little something else. So, guys, smoke them if you got them. Go potty. We'll be back in a few.
Brew break.
Hi, it's Ron Dovo, Timberman, and this is CoCoTALK.
In a world where RGB produces black and white video, one cable can make a difference. Switcheroo. CoCo3ScartCable.com.
Some people have big plans after school. You know what Elliot's going to do? Jeff, too. Elliot's at work on a book report using scripted on Radio Shack's Color Computer 3. It hooks up to his TV. And Jeff's at his Radio Shack Color Computer 3 playing the newest football game. But wait, what's Elliot doing playing new Super Pitfall? And Jeff's having a blast with a new math tutor. You never know what you might try with more than 100 programs for fun and learning. Radio Shack's Color Computer 3 comes with everything you see here. Other items each sold separately. Only at Radio Shack.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
Hey, have you got your Coco 3 yet? Hi, this is Rick Adams, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai, and you've tuned into CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer.
What's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and if you're a fan of vintage computing and retro gaming, then you're going to love our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. There you will find custom designs by Instagram artist Joel M. Adams. You can get I'm a Coconut, CoCoTALK, and other cool video game images on a t-shirt, coffee mug, or mouse pad. So if you love retro, then head on over to the retro swag shop at 8bit256.com today. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program packs turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more. The color computer is an educational aid, a home management tool, an up-to-the-minute electronic information service. The programmable, expandable TRS-80 color computer from $399 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
All right, and we are back. Has your sound engineer gotten the board worked out for you?
Yeah, it should be working this time. Yeah. Let's give this another shot, see what we get this time.
He gives everybody a bad time.
Yeah, it looks good with the audio spectrum analyzer going back there too.
Yeah, this track's actually pretty good.
It's got a nice groove to it. Good low end to it.
Yeah.
I like the drum and bass sounds on that.
Yeah. I gotta get one of these things now. I want one.
Yeah, and this is just on a Coco 1. You imagine what you do with a Coco 3 with one of these suckers.
Yeah, it actually runs really the Ed's. I mean, this is only a beta, early beta version of Ed's chiptune player too, and it's actually quite stable. It's very good.
Yeah.
There's a couple of the more complex tracks. It tends to slow down a bit of the tempo. There's a couple of tempo issues on. It's only one or two of the really complex tracks, but probably about 90% of what's on there just runs really, really nicely. And I would imagine Ed would be as he fine tunes all this, he'll be able to iron those things out.
Yeah, so you've got a 6309, so this thing is cranking it up in the native mode and the faster speed and stuff, I would imagine.
Yep. But just at 1 megahertz.
Right. Or just does it not? What do you mean just at 1 megahertz?
Because it's a Coco 1, so it's
well, that leads into my next question now. The Coco VGA, because it is not even, I guess, because is it not using the VDG at all now? Because I know the VDG still plugs back into the Coco VGA, but could we get double speed on the Coco VGA because it's outputting differently?
Well, it is still. I still do the poke 65495,0 double speed.
9.5, but what about 9.7? Can you poke a 9.7?
The 9.5 only speeds up the ROM access.
Try a 65497, because on a real Coco, your screen would freak out on that because it screwed up the timing between.
There's two issues with that. One, it screws up the video refresh, but it also screws up the SAM refresh of the RAM. So if you let it run too long, it'll start to scramble the RAM a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I've tried it on this one, and it does scramble. So
it scrambles the screen too.
Yep, it does.
Okay, so the Coco VGA is not a workaround for that. So if you go into double speed mode, you're just screwed.
Yeah, it might be able to get around the video issues, but it won't get around the RAM refresh issues where you're not leaving the SAM enough time to refresh the RAM before it starts losing charges, and then all of a sudden you start getting scrambled.
That sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing here. SAM refresh to RAM.
I haven't actually tried it with 309. I can try it right now if you want.
Yeah,
Just,
try to do a double speed poke. Do the 65497 and see if it shites the bed or not.
But imagine, like he was mentioning, that the really complex tracks that start to slow down a little bit, like you're probably when you're using like 16 voices simultaneously.
Yeah.
I think the run natively on the Coco 3 in full double speed would probably solve that.
Yes, the screen just went straight. Went wackadoodle. Okay.
Yep.
That was a curiosity if the Coco VGA could. If that would be kind of cool if you had a Coco VGA and you could do the true double speed.
Yeah, I think you'd need faster RAMs. You'd need a SAM that can handle the faster speed too for the RAM refresh.
Cool. Well, you got your hands full now. So you got some impressive setups there, David. You got, Cocos with the Coco VGA. You've got 6309s in them, and now you've got the Mega Mini MPI. So you're kind of like up to the 21st century. You're fully decked out on your Coco 2s, huh?
And yeah, absolutely. And going back to the future, as we talk about, these Deluxe joysticks here, they were recent purchases and they were brand new. New old stock, still wrapped up, still in the plastic.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. I got two of them. They were on the Coco Facebook page. One of the members there had listed them up. I think it was about a month ago or something, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and he had a whole bunch of them there, and I thought, I jumped in. And I'd never used a deluxe joystick way back in the day. I had plenty of the old black ones.
Mm-hmm.
So to actually get like a pair of brand new ones, and actually unwrap the plastic was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
And David, have you got a Coco 3 or are you planning on getting one?
I've got a Coco 3 on the way. Brian was, he's got one there, Bryza. So, we've been in communication and he's sending me one down. It doesn't have a keyboard. I've got to find a keyboard for it. But a Coco 3
Well, a
keyboard.
Coco 1 and 2 keyboard will work. You'll just be missing the 4 keys.
Yep.
Does it have the telepathy input module? Where it can
failing
read
to have
your-
the ears software where you
it
can
can read your mind. You can just think to it.
That'd be nice.
Well, ears, you can talk to it and actually program it to know some basic commands. You can say that.
Yeah. Imagine that, writing like a Siri program for your Coco and you say, Coco. All right. So, Coco.
That would be cool.
Coco,
Yeah.
launch SDC Explorer. Coco,
It
boot
didn't
OS
work
9.
the greatest, but that's exactly what ears from speech systems
Yeah.
did for the Coco 1 and 2. So.
Yeah, but we had the reverse, the speech, the speaker chip. I can't even speak it. The speech ROM pack back in the day. I remember having that and borrowing it from our local Coco Computer Club, and got that back here. And we would find some random phone number in the phone book, and we'd ring them and do prank calls with this speech pack. And
You're being prank called by a Cylon.
Yeah.
By your command. Yeah, that's funny.
Before Mum and Dad, much to Mum and Dad's dismay because they had to pay the phone bills. But it was a little bit of fun.
Yeah, that should be a segment. How does a speech sound pack say this phrase? You just type it and see what it says, right? It would butcher a few things.
That's one thing we used to do. We used to try and find the craziest surnames in the phone book, and something that started with Z and went for like 26 letters or something, or Z, guys, and have 26 letters in it or whatever, and we'd ring them up and we type their name into the computer and we say, "Is Mr. up there?" Just to find out whether, because the computer it had just waffle on this big long string of just something that sounded really crazy. So yeah.
You were so cruel in your youth.
Oh yeah. So, what else is going on this week? It's been a light week for Coco stuff. We had a light news. It's an hour and a half. I almost feel like we're out of show, and this is a short show.
AGV Game Pack 24 has been released, and Paris said they're getting close to the end now of the port of everything, and he's even been discussing a little bit on Facebook about the possibility of releasing the code for somebody to make a Coco 3 version of it.
Oh, that would be cool.
And he's also talking about possibly supporting the Game Master cartridge for the sound, so we can get the sound like the Spectrum had, the later Spectrums.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I did today. I went and saw Captain Marvel in the theater, the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. And it was pretty damn good. I didn't know what to expect, but I was very pleased with the movie. So I don't know if anybody's a fan of all these Marvel cinema things, but I liked it.
Yeah, that was the one that received some there's bad reviews or something, wasn't it? And then people went along and saw it. Yeah, and people were going along and saying it was actually really good. They were saying the reviews were wrong. So unless I'm getting that confused with some other movie, but
Honestly,
a friend of mine was mentioning something about it, and he said he read some really bad reviews, and he went along and saw it, and he thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, no,
I think the critics didn't like it or something, but the fans are really liking it. So
yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. It might have been the critics. Yeah.
Okay, we just got a link from Jeff in Facebook saying, here's my Coco voice synth. I'm not sure if that's going to... I don't have Facebook open. I'm not sure if I can grab that link. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. No, I mean, it was good. What was the last movie that just came out with frickin' Thanos? What was that one called? It was Avengers something or another.
Infinity Wars or whatever it is.
Was it Infinity War? I don't know what the hell it's called, but you know, the one with Thanos, it kind of ended on, let's just say, not a high note. You know what I mean? It was definitely like a cliffhanger, but it really left things in the universe kind of somber, right? And so you go out on that note, you know, you've got nowhere to go but up. And a couple of things they did to follow that up, which was pretty good. Obviously, it's all been planned in advance, but I think after the Thanos movie, they released Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that was kind of taking place during the time of the Infinity Wars. But it was, you know, it's still in the same universe, but different characters, but they kind of tie it in at the end. But that one was a little bit more light-hearted humor. You know, the Ant-Man series and that cast of characters is a little bit more like Guardians of the Galaxy, a little bit more tongue-in-cheek humor going on there. So that was kind of cool to sweeten it up a little bit. And then this one here with Captain Marvel, well, it takes place kind of like in the 90s, right? So, and so all of this stuff in this movie, it's kind of, you know, an origin story sort of. And, but it again ties in to right after Thanos, you know, so it kind of brings it all back to the Infinity War. But again, it was a nice movie to kind of take your mind off of how kind of doom and gloom that Thanos story ended with the Marvel Universe, and it's kind of bringing it all back and making you feel like, all right, what's the new one going to be called? Endgame, Avengers Endgame or something like that. So
yeah, the Infinity Wars Endgame.
Yeah, so you know they're definitely kind of stacking the deck here to get, hopefully, giving our heroes a fighting chance. Because
I think Ant-Man's going to tie into that too, actually.
Yeah.
Since he got shrunk down to subatomic before everybody started.
No spoilers in case you didn't see it.
Right,
So
something. How's that?
yeah, well, he got small, right? So Ant-Man got small. So cool. Hey, David, thanks for sharing that sound with us. That's kind of cool here in the Chiptunes player. And you know, as you start working on all those things you said you were going to do with controlling your racks of gear back there, we'd definitely love to hear more of those updates from you.
Yeah, I'm working on power supply design for the big modular in the background at the moment.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get that finished this week, but I had some health issues, as I was mentioning earlier on. I was actually at very high risk of a heart attack.
Well, that's not good. That's not good.
I had no idea, and it was. Turns out that I get migraines a lot, so I'm on. My doctor gave me medication to help try and prevent the migraines. Turns out I was having an allergic reaction to it, and it was making my blood pressure came up at something like 170 on 110. It was absolutely through the roof, and it's normally about like 110 on 70. My resting heart rate was nearly 100 beats per minute, and my heart was skipping beats every like 4 or 5 beats.
Did you say 800?
No, 180 over. 110.
That's still a lot. That's still a lot.
Yeah, it's the most. It was. I actually have a heart rate, a blood pressure monitor here, and it was giving me high readings, and I thought there was something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Middle of the week, the doctor changed me over onto something different, and everything's back to normal. So
thank God, right? So.
But yeah, it was a real worry at one point. I was,
you would think
you caught it.
Yeah, you would think people.
Absolutely.
These doctors went to medical school for something like 12 years, and then they've been practicing and interning and this and that. And you would think somebody who's, you got one job. Your job is to, heal people. And somehow they still manage to screw it up. That's why they call it practicing medicine. Maybe one of these days they'll get it right.
I'll get it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, in his defence, that reaction is listed as a potential side effect, but it's listed as rare. And I happen to be one of the rare cases that actually had an allergic reaction to it. So
yeah. Well, we're glad you caught it. Yeah, I've had a few scares like that too, which I'm glad that I caught. So family first, but then your own self. You got to take care of yourself. You're part of the family, right? So you're as far as our priorities, it should be our mental and physical well-being and family, and then everything else, right? So you got to have a couple of priorities there. So
one other thing with the sound. Remember last week we were talking about which well-known synthesizers back in the day used the 6809 processor, and we got to talking about the Fairlight CMI, the big mega sampler, which had between 5 and 6 figures depending on its configuration and price tag. It used a pair of 6809 processors. The interesting thing was I'm sitting right in front of a sampler keyboard right now, the Ensoniq Mirage, which is one of the first affordable professional sampler keyboards. And little did I know that I was actually sitting right in front of this thing, and it uses a 6809 processor. So
wow.
I've got the thing plugged in and I've got it loaded up, and everything's connected. I can give you a bit of a quick example.
Yeah, sure. Let's hear it.
I'll just see if I can swing it.
Okay, and Stevie, I posted Jeff's link to you on the chat here on this.
Is it in the Zoom chat?
Yeah.
Screenshot from the Coco. Okay, YouTube. Okay, and is that something that we can show without worrying about copyright stuff?
From my brief look at it, yes. It's just kind of showing his own do-it-yourself. He made his own little 1980s vintage speech thing. Using an 02568-AL2 chip, which I'm not even familiar with, so I'm interested to see or hear what it sounds like.
Okay, we'll pull that up as soon as we get our little sample here of 6809 synth.
It's the original floppy disks, 3.5-inch floppies.
Oh, wow.
You stick one of them in and you should get the old come up in a second. Loading up samples.
Listen to that floppy drive load, huh?
Yep. And the Mellotron I was talking about was an analog sampler. It had tape loops on it for each key, and when you press the key, it would literally play a loop of tape for that note.
Oh,
and
wow.
they'd have different things recorded on it. The Moody Blues used it. Led Zeppelin used it for orchestral sounds in some of their tracks. A lot of the Beatles used it for Strawberry Fields for the flute line. So the Mirage Sampler happens to have a very Mellotronish type choir sound, which I actually absolutely love. And this is the sound. It's,
Yeah, that sounds nice synth pad sounding there. Yeah. Too bad. I think Zoom is probably killing some of this audio there. Maybe the auto clipping of the microphone and stuff. Yeah.
let me try pulling back I'll put the pad on this microphone and then.
Yeah, I think it's the software that's killing it. I think Zoom itself is probably doing some type of noise canceling or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we hear it, but it does get kind of lost. But it sounds cool. Yeah. I like that top keyboard you're playing, kind of the synthy pad sound that was playing on that one. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
That's Roland's latest release.
Yeah.
Roland System 8. It's a fantastic little keyboard. I love it. But yeah, anyway, that's the Mirage with its.
And that's running a 6809. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Pity about this.
You need to have Nick Marentes over for a shrimp on the Barbie and show him off your whole setup there.
Sounds like fun.
He can't be too...
help him write a theme song for Gunstar.
For Gunstar, right? Yeah. Yeah, we had a comment earlier saying somebody's still waiting on the OS 9 version of Funstar. So, yeah, that was supposed to be done in a weekend. So,
yeah. I have a sneaky suspicion Nick's going to try to make me write that once he finishes the main one.
Yeah, right. You're going to outsource that, right? So, foreign labor.
Yeah. I'll stuff it off on Bill.
All right.
Buy the game, get a free Mirage keyboard, is it?
Not likely, Curtis.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Jeff Gubash. I hope I'm not screwing up your name here, Jeff. But it's a minute long, 57 seconds. So let's hear this. Formerly game cartridge. Okay. Here are some sound samples. Stephen Hawkins.
Can't hear it.
We don't hear anything.
Oh,
Nope, don't hear it.
All right, I think I stopped sharing system sound, wanting to know if that was going to... Okay, we'll rewind it so you guys can hear it. I stopped sharing system sound in case that was going to help the other sound coming through. Yeah. All right. There we go.
Still nothing.
Well, it hasn't started yet. This is a little slideshow leading up to it. When you see the speaker, you'll see it.
Okay.
Would you like to play a nice game of chess? That's funny. Same chip using the Radio Shack, build quality somewhat better. Yeah, I would hope so. Right.
Oh, was it saying something? Oh.
Yeah, you weren't hearing it?
I was hearing something.
Yeah, it was a little hard to make out some of it. I mean, I knew a lot of what he was saying. Like one of them, he said, "Do I sound like Stephen Hawkins?" The other one, I really wasn't sure what he was saying at the beginning until I got to the point where he said, "How would you like to play a nice game of chess?" or something like that. But it was, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't even the best speech chip that was on the Coco. I mean, the Super Voice and Real Talker and others used some better quality speech chips later on.
Votrax or whatever, was it?
No, it's beyond. Votrax actually basically wasn't that good either. I'm trying to remember the name of the other one. It was a second generation speech chip that Speech Systems used to sell. That had inflections and stuff, so you could actually raise and lower the pitch of the voice and stuff, so it was a lot smoother.
You know what I'd like to do maybe for a minute here? Just because we are coming up on 100 episodes. And yeah, I myself, I am not going to have time to even think about doing a best of, right? So maybe rather instead of doing a best of, maybe we can do our own kind of little reminiscing here real quick. I'm going to just go through the playlists of CoCoTALK here real quick. And I'm going to just name off the names of the episodes, and maybe we can all chime in on some of our favorite episodes. Now we're going back to, I'm scrolling through the playlist here on YouTube. Wow. It's just, there's so many freaking episodes. So, and is there still another page? CoCoTALK number 3, John Strong. How am I missing a CoCoTALK? Something must not have made it to the,
I think it's when you migrated.
Oh, here we go.
That's gone out of order.
All right, they're just kind of out of order here. So we have the pilot episode, which was CocoFest 2017 discussions. That was episode number 1. Episode number 2 is Nick Marentes talks about developing and selling new Coco games. That was CoCoTALK number 2. Coco Talk number 3. John Strong from Strongware shows off projects and development tools. Yeah, I think we were probably seeing some sneak peeks at Handy Andy or something like that, right? So, our episodes were going all the way up to our first 5 episodes. Were leading up to Coco Fest of 2017. So Coco Talk number 5 was Easter edition, 1 week until Coco Fest. Merchandise, emulators, games, and more. That was episode 5. Now, then I did one that must have been right after Coco Fest that was basically, I'm not feeling the blues yet, right? And then Coco Talk number 6 was a Coco Fest wrap-up show. We actually had our first beginners and newbie edition, and I don't remember.
That's when Grant was the official newbie talk guy.
Right, and I think this was probably your idea, Curtis, where you said, well, we get kind of technical. Maybe we should not intimidate everybody and throw out the idea of, hey, if anybody wants to ask a newbie question, we can entertain those, right? So, episode number 7.
Now Grant knows so much he's not a newbie anymore, so we don't do that.
Yeah, the newbie question of the week is not even we don't even have Grant on anymore. He hosted like 2 or 3 times. He became such a big star, he just left. Right. Yeah. So Coco.
I think he's hosting the Grammys now or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So Coco Tech number 7 was the beginners and newbies. Number 8, Coco Sprites, embarrassing moments. Because I think that was a question that was posted in Facebook. What were some of your embarrassing moments that you maybe did back in the day? So we had that one. Drive wire on VCC. Pac-Man port video. I think that's when Glenn Hewlett was still working on the game. That's back on Coco Talk number 9. What's your favorite Coco game was number 10. This was kind of a good one. This was when Tim Lindner, this was one of our first world premieres, right? So the world premiere of the speech and sound pack being emulated in MAME, right? So we were talking about it, and I think Tim had a schedule conflict that day, so he came on the next day, and we had another episode where we really did a deep dive into that, and we got to hear some samples, and he talked about the project and how he had to reverse the ROM and all kinds of stuff to get that going, right? So yeah, man, it's been so many different ones, right? So that was number 12, using MAME, and I think Nick Marotta recently said he referenced this one. He went back and did that. Episode 13, Jim Gary goodies. So we were probably showing off a bunch of his videos for all we know.
That's got to be 200 programs ago already.
Yeah, right. And this was our surprise guest where Steve Bjork was in the live chat. I don't think he came on the show yet, but he was in the live chat. Or maybe he was on it. I don't remember. I don't know if he
think it was
joined.
just live chat that first time.
Just the live chat that time.
Totally unexpected.
Right. So that was an episode 13, and we're on 99 now. So it shows you how long Steve Bjork's been around with us now, right? So media players, Dungeons. That was Karen Anscombe's game, Dungeons, which is pretty cool, right?
Kind
X-Roar.
of a phone, yeah.
Yeah. I have, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at the cassette of that one right now. It's on my shelf.
Multiplayer also.
Yeah, that's right. Up to 4 players at the same time. Pac-Man Transcode on episode 15. How to tweak Mess UI for Coco emulation. That was a pretty good one, right? The world premiere of Rick Adams' Bomb Threat was on Coco Talk number 17. So another world premiere on our show when we were still in our teens. You know, now we're in the golden years. We're in 99 now, right? So Mike Rowan, we had an interview, an introduction to OS 9 and Nitrous 9. That's Bill Noble gave me a disc image, and that was one of the first times I looked at OS 9. That was on Coco Talk 18. Coco Hardware Retro Innovations talked about the Coco on a chip. I think we had Bill Noble and Jim Brain on really talking about real hardware and emulated hardware. That was
this when he started trolling? I can't remember.
That's when he started, yeah.
Yeah, right. So that was a good one. I really liked that episode because Bill was really explaining to us how at the time it was called the Matchbox Coco, right? So it was explaining to us a lot about how that kind of stuff worked. And that later became, actually it was called Coco on a chip before it became the Matchbox.
Yeah.
Before,
and now it's Mr.
Yeah. Why is Curtis Boyle frozen on my screen right now? I had a freaking freeze frame of Curtis smiling there for a minute.
Grin, I think it's called.
20 is when I came on.
Coco Community Challenge, Ron's Garage. So that was the world premiere of Ron Delvaux.
Yep.
It's in episode 20. Forest of Doom teaser. That's kind of cool. All right. So, yeah, it's made from humble beginnings, right? Episode 21 is when we became a podcast. When we went from video to audio to kind of, becoming the king of all media here. Podcast.
How long ago? Wow.
Episode 21 is when we first became a podcast. almost 70 episodes ago, right? So, or more than 70 episodes. So, Ron's retro video, Grant's newbie question, David's tech corner, and more. Episode 21. Episode 22, Nick Marenti's Pac-Man 1.1 update. I think that's where he changed some palettes and a few things like that. CoCoTALK 22 Part 2. Oh, I don't know why this one...
Part 2.
Yeah, this might have been the one where I had the cowbell thing.
It was the one where you had to clip out the
I had to break it in half, right? Because the cowbell thing, right? So then we had Basic 09 talk. Episode 23, the debut of Floppy Talk. If you want to hear David Ladd talk about floppies and formats and tracks and stuff ad nauseum, replay episode 23.
I can see the lineup starting already.
Yeah, you are.
No one fell asleep.
Yeah, you're in for a treat here, boys and girls. Episode 24, that's where we had live coverage of Nick Marenti's at the Oz K-Fest. And that's also what was kind of cool about that was this was the debut of the Nitrous 9 commercial, the fake one, right? The Nick Marionette commercial. And nobody had seen that yet. And so I kind of got Nick's reactions of him watching that for the first time. And we laughed our asses off the first time we saw it.
I laughed so hard that episode, I actually literally had tears in my eyes. So.
The ease
Waltzing
of
Matilda.
All right. So I love it so much that on my next game,
I freaking fell off my chair on that
one. Next game, Fun Star, will be released this weekend and available exclusively on ROM cartridge. OS 9 forever.
You don't even need to read the manual.
Oh, and this is art imitating life, right? Like we actually have the ease of use edition now, which is awesome. So that was great. Hurricane Irma edition. That's when I actually lost power during the I was live streaming that weekend, and we lost power because of the hurricane. New Coco games, assembly optimizations, Simon's latest demo, and more. Episode 27 became called Ease of Use. Now, was this the first Tandy Assembly? It was. This was Tandy Assembly number 1. So we had a pre-game show where we had a show before Tandy Assembly. There, Bruce Moore in the live chat says, "Thank you. You're too kind." Yes.
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
So we had a pre-game show. So that was our episode before Tandy Assembly. Then we had a wrap-up show, which would be the episode after Tandy Assembly. Then I aired a roundtable discussion that we had recorded during Tandy Assembly. Community drama. I think this was one of the first times we had an issue with the sound chip. I don't remember. I think what had happened back here was Ed Snyder released a development kit, and then John Linville released one. I don't remember who released one first, and then I don't know, comments were exchanged, and it was one of the there was some tit for tat going on there, and so we tried to talk about that a little bit. So this was, I don't know, what was the date of this one here? The Rainbow Revival. Okay. So that's interesting. This was from, what was the date of this? 2017, October of 2017. So that's when we were getting into the first time where everybody was getting excited about the Rainbow. So now where are we at now? We're at 2019, right? So October of 2017. So that was almost 2018. So it's been a good year.
It's only been 16 months. 15 months.
Yeah. So the first time we were talking about Revolve, and technically it happened. Ron Delvaux made a magazine, so we can't say nothing happened there. Right. So we had the Rainbow Revival. Forest of Doom launch party, another debut on episode 32. A lot of world premieres. So that was kind of cool. All right. Again, to hardware talk on 33. Grant Leedy was our first special guest host on episode 34. So that was for 33 episodes. I had not missed a show, right? So it was episode 34 was when we had Grant Leedy as our first guest host. We had a Thanksgiving edition and Nitrous 9 update. Coco Christmas Wishes was episode 36. We had some Christmas demos, Paul Thayer and Timberman in episode 37. Episode 38 was the Forest of Doom live stream and contest. We had a Christmas Eve episode. Then we had our best of, thanks to Brian.
That's when somebody won the
Rice.
cup of douche too, wasn't it? Or something?
Yes, the mug of douchery, right? So we had a Christmas Eve, we had a best of, we had a New Year's Eve, we had our second After Dark. So somewhere around in here we started After Dark. CoCoTALK After Dark started right around episode 30. Man, there's so much history. It's hard to, you forget all the things we did. And we have a best of volume 2, our first show of 2018, CoCoTALK After Dark number 3, CMOC compiler. I think Boise Pete joined us that time, and he was talking to us about CMOC and the things he was doing with that. Our first Why Did Tandy Do That? And the question was memory and RGB versus composite, right? So that was our first segment there. Why did Tandy
Nick
do
had
that?
something to do with that latter one.
Yeah, right. So that debuted on episode 44, right? So, man, we got so many freaking episodes, Coco Crew Podcast Review. Why did Tandy do that on 45? Another one, Troll Talk. I think this was that time where that guy came in the group and just tried pissing all over the Facebook group. He was commenting saying, yeah, that would have been good back in 1987. Pissed everybody off, right? So
And just basically dissing the whole retro thing, period.
yeah, right. So I was like, why are you here? Episode 47 was great. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking about the Brazilian clones. Let's see if I put his name in the credits. He had like 4 or 5 names, right? So you know how those Spanish guys are. They got like 19 names to him, right? So what was his name? His name was, let's see. Okay. Oh. So it was Juan Carlos Castro y Castro. There we go. Juan Carlos Castro y Castro was his name there. So, yeah, and he was really giving us the whole story of Brazil and the clones and all that kind of stuff. That was really cool.
Yeah, and the loose copyrights they had for the software and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that was actually a good show.
Yeah. So episode 47, Brazilian clones. All right, so if anybody wants to know which ones to play in your spare time, maybe we're giving you some ideas here. Temple of Rom Talk. I think this is when they first started showing some of the teaser clips of a new and improved Temple of Rom game, right? And of course now, Curtis, you keep freezing on me. Curtis keeps freeze framing. Hey, Tony Pedraza has joined us. Hey, Tony.
Not doing anything in the background.
No, it must be Zoom doing that. So I don't remember the guy's name, but he started. This was the first time we started talking about a new 3D Temple of Rom, right? This is when David Ladd got really excited about serial ports and ESP modules and RS-232, right? We had a St. Patrick's Day edition. I don't know what we talked about. Probably something stupid, right? We had this was, I think, we did an hour and 7 minutes. So this episode was called Shortest Show Ever, because even by this time we were probably into 3-hour shows. So this was a 1 hour show. So that was our shortest show ever. Easter edition was 3 hours. 2 weeks until Coco Fest. So this would have been leading up to Coco Fest 2018. Right, so episode 53 was 2 weeks away from that. Then we have Coco Fest is a week away. We're counting down Coco Fest. That was episode 54. Episode 55, Coco Fest wrap-up show, where we probably talked about what we did at Coco Fest. This was a good one. This was another one where I was not there. This was probably the second time that I was not hosting. I think Grant and you guys co-hosted, but we had Thomas Cherryholmes from Errata Online on the show. That was a really good episode. I think I was in Georgia that weekend. Community Stuff, episode 58. And this was the debut of us appearing live on Roku, was episode 58 here. Memorial Day weekend, CorgsCon. So that was our own correspondent, Jason the Coco Man Reichert, bringing us live footage from CorgsCon. So that was kind of fun. News from around the world. I have no idea what the hell that was, but it's probably good.
When
right?
was it we talked about the neutron bomb or whatever?
Remember that?
We laughed our
EMP.
butts off.
The
Yeah.
EMP. I don't remember. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, Bill's here. Maybe we can get a repeat on that one. So
Not likely.
Lightning doesn't strike twice, huh? Another world premiere, Coco Forever launch party, right? So that was episode 62. Assembly. Then we started our assembly series on episode 63. Man, you forget how many things. Assembly part 2, hardware, core dump debut on episode 65. That was the beginning of the core dump right there. So the rage quit episode, right? So assembly part 3. Basic unraveled. I think we spent a heck of a lot of time unraveling basic because my head unraveled at that point in time.
You don't have a way to go to that rage quit area on the video?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm Stevie Stroh. Let's get to the rage quit. Here you can see. Here we go.
Right where it is?
Here we go. Here it is. Because this is the edited version right here. All right, so here we go.
Well, it takes less than half the time because you aren't just you're cutting the number of passes through the loop in half, but you're also cutting the number of tests of your address in half.
For those of you who are listening right now on the audio podcast, you might want to pull up the video portion of this because this is the 3-minute warning. I actually will actually see me type it out there. I put out a message in Skype saying, guys, we need to end this or I will rage quit. So you can see me doing it, and then exactly 3 minutes from that point is when the button was pressed. So here we go. Countdown, 3 minutes to meltdown. All right, so here we go.
Yeah, to see if you're down the loop or not. Like,
there we go. So let's scrub forward a little bit. There we go. I'm going to scrub forward a little bit here, and you guys are still babbling.
I don't think most of us saw
you.
They just kind of had a boilerplate version of it, and they just quickly ported it to everything.
Right. Well, they took the 6800 code. They made a handful of.
My headphones are off at this point.
They said, "I am not messing with that flow."
I didn't realize you gave a countdown there, Stevie.
No, this is the edited version.
That was edited afterwards.
Seen what was broadcast live for episode 6. I just hit the button, Frank.
Yeah, and took the whole stream down.
Yeah. So episode 66. Yes, if you want to hear Curtis and James Diffendafer talk about the basic ROMs, you're in for a treat.
You managed to do what even Floppy Talk couldn't do. We got Steve to read it.
Yeah, you did what David Ladd couldn't, right? Now this was a good one too because we were wanting to get Ron Klein on forever, the guy who kind of spearheaded the Cocoa Pi project on the Raspberry Pi, kind of put everything together. So we got Ron Klein on finally to hear it in his own words and talked about how he was going to be including a lot of support for the Dragon at that time. So that's kind of cool. 10,000 downloads was somewhere around episode 68. That was Assembly Language Part 4. VCF West. I had some great correspondence there. So that was great on episode 69. Dennis Bathroy Kits was on episode 70. Abe Vigoda. Because you guys were talking about Bill Vergona, right? Or something like that. So we ended up calling that one Abe Vigoda. That was the running gag for that show. That was fun. CoCoTALK episode 72 live. I have no idea what that one was about, but it came right after 71, right? So
thanks for narrowing that down.
Yeah.
Nothing notable.
Yeah, so
we're just fulfilling our contract time,
That's it.
Put stuff out.
Or maybe it meant Abe Vigoda was still alive. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Episode 73, Assembly Part 6, and we have 74, a mixed bag of community content. Episode 75, Assembly Part 7, VCF Midwest 13 wrap-up. We had all the show and tell of our pictures and stuff like that, right? So, And then we had 76, Assembly Part 8, 77, Assembly Part 9, Assembly Part 10. Eric Critchlow joined us. That was great hearing some of his stuff. Nice interview there. Episode 79. When did you first Coco? Oh, and this is where we didn't have a tech segment, so Nick Marentes bailed us out and did some live Ed-tasming for us, showed us how to do some
and
stuff.
You didn't rage quit that one? Gee.
No, because he's not as boring as you, Curtis.
Oh, that's true. One thing I want to mention before you go any further, though, there was a lot of other interviews that I don't think got mentioned in the title. Like we interviewed Chris Latham and some others too.
Well, that wasn't on CoCoTALK. That was just an interview.
Oh, that was.
So I have a different playlist for interviews.
Okay. Yeah. Doug or Dale Lear and
Dale Lear, Rick Adams. Yeah. Yeah. So VCF Midwest, man, so many episodes. Assembly Part Eric Critchlow interview. That was great. When did you first Coco? Assembly Part 11, Moving a Dot. That's where we actually did a demo. 81, Vectrex Talk. That's when we had Willie come on, right? So
that was neat.
Yeah, talking about the Vectrex. That was cool. Tandy Assembly Weekend. So this was Tandy Assembly number 2. And so we had some live correspondence going on there. Then we had an After Dark with more Tandy Assembly. Episode 83, hosted by the internet's own Grant Leedy. So that was like the second or third time that Grant co-hosted the show. We had Turkey Talk, a special Thanksgiving edition. That wasn't even like numbered, right? That was just kind of out there. So we went from 83 to...
we all chewed the fat.
Yeah. So we had a Turkey Talk. And then and you notice we at this point we're at the After Dark number 22. So by the time that we reached episode 80, we already had 22 After Dark. So we technically already did 100 freaking episodes, 20 episodes ago, you know? So 84, Thanksgiving. 85, OS9 Forever. This is when we had, drawing a blank on the guy's name right now.
Alan,
but the guy, Alan Badiger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Badiger. And so this was a great string of episodes here. So we go from Alan Badiger from OS9 to Frank Hogg. Then we had Ben
era.
Yeah. Yes. we had Ben Drakes, the guy showing off our VR stuff. Then we had Dale Puckett on the show. Sockmaster. Then we're into 2019.
Fixing his monitor, which was the awesome
stuff. Beating on his monitor, right? Yeah. So that was good stuff, right? Gunstar and Digger 3 and Jersey Talk. This is where Tom C. hosted the show for us, right? Episode 91.
Straight from Jersey.
Right? Then we have special guest Marty Goodman on episode 92. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, how are we going to... episode 93 live. 94, we picked a new time. 95 was a special guest. We were trying to get Marty back on, but it didn't work. And so I think Dennis, we're trying to get Marty and Dennis together. Couldn't get Marty back
share
on.
Stories. That would be an awesome show.
Yeah. Game Dev Talk. This was a good one. Nick Marotta. And then music last week. So, man, we've had so many episodes as we are coming up on 99, 100 episodes. If you were to ask me,
we have After Darks. Plus, we have interviews. So I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, we've had 25 After Darks. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go out on a limb and vouch for the quality of every episode, but we can definitely say we should win points for quantity.
Just flood them until they like it. That's what.
Yeah. All right. So flood the market. Right. So. That was 98 episodes. I got to say, one of my favorite episodes, and I told you guys before, was that one where I wasn't on it, you know, and it was the one, gosh, should I go back to the list? It's the one that Grant hosted, right? And I don't even remember everybody who was on it, but it was just really good.
It was in the last 6 months or so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were in Georgia again.
Yeah. So it was just like, it was really cool. And the thing that I love about this is that, you know, I've said this before, but, you know, the show is bigger than anyone. You know, this show, to me, this show is a testament to, you know, our community, right? So there's a lot of us on here. We're all diverse. We got some people on here who are, you know, living legends. We've got some people on here who are hardware or software experts. We've got some, you know, experts in their field.
We have
You know,
some
we've
people that are legends in their own minds.
Legends in their own minds. You've got the the enthusiasts and the hobbyists, and so I think this show, the trolls. I think this show is a great encapsulation of our community, because our community has got all kinds of people in it. It's got people who've been around the Coco, that word luminaries, that I hear people talking about, so there's a lot of the luminaries. There's Curtis Boyle, so I mean, it's just,
I don't count under any of those categories. Hired help that works for free.
But we have people in our community like Ed Snyder, who makes this incredible hardware. We've got Jim Brain, who makes this incredible hardware. We got Richard Lorbieski, who makes incredible hardware. Then we got all your software guys. Matter of fact, it was that episode that Grant hosted. I forgot what number it was, but I remember towards the end, Nick Marentes made the comment. He goes, "Do you realize that there are 5 game developers right now all together talking at the same time?" So there was Nick Marentes, there was Chet Simpson, there was Steve Bjork. That's 3. I don't remember who else was there. Probably Rick Adams was there. There was a few more, but it's like, people from the past and the present and the future all on the same time, all talking out loud about making video games. I mean, it was really cool. It gave me chills when he said that. It's like, man, this is really cool, And it's like, none of this was planned, and you can't plan this,
Yep. And I have to say, they're not officially part of all the episodes. Some of them are separate. Some of them are part of the episodes. But my favorites have been the interviews with some of the game developers and some of the other developers. That's the ones I like the best, just because you learn the history and you learn stories from behind, how some of the stuff was developed that nobody's ever heard of before.
The deep dive.
Yeah.
Like having Chris Latham on here talking about, how he paid for his first car selling Donkey King and stuff like that, and part of his college tuition. And stories of Rick and Dale, carpooling and discussing game development and stuff, when they were going to work at the same place in California. So it's just tons of stuff, tons of history that hasn't been anywhere else. Hasn't been in Rainbow, hasn't been in Hot Cocoa. It's never been in the magazines, and now we're learning these stories now. So
yeah.
And not to mention all the little comedy bits that happen accidentally being a live show. I mean, remember the EMCs and
the EMPs and what did David break
EMPs, rather.
Yeah, we've got so many segments, like the commercial for the Boomerang. Rob Inman made that commercial for us. So people who have been kind of like fans of the show, who kind of get the humor, they've created this great content for us. Our first two best of episodes that Brian Joyce put together, those were great. We've got Ken Reichert's made a ton of bumpers and commercials and stuff for us. And
the stuff Bruce did is great.
Bruce Moore's stuff
Bruce.
is it's like, so the Coco crew has Myro, and Myro is an amazing guy. But we don't have a Myro, but we got a lot of other guys that are, we've got a plethora of kind of crowdsourced bonus content from a lot of people. Yeah. Again, all unexpected. So you just couldn't plan this. You just couldn't. We couldn't do this on purpose.
Tony Pedraza has joined us.
Tony Pedraza, Vice President of the Glenside Color Computer Club. Are you in the Library of Congress right now, Tony? No, you're muted. You're still muted. Now you're not muted. No, he's not in the Library of Congress. Are you in the basement of Congress?
No. He's hiding.
He's hiding. Welcome, Tony. Speaking of unexpected pleasures, having you on these past few weeks has been great, too. Just joining us and keeping us abreast of what's going on with Coco Fest this year.
You mean you're just a big boob?
Sir, yes, sir. Keeping us abreast, yes. So we did mention earlier, you posted there's only 2 tables left, right, for exhibitors?
That is correct. In the main room.
In the main room, right, until we get into their overflow. Yeah.
So I missed that. What?
And then you have overflow. So once the main room is full, there's overflow.
That is correct.
So that's good. That's good that we're almost at capacity, right, with exhibitors and whatnot.
Yep.
That's a good problem. Yeah. Yeah. And so, Coco Fest was the inspiration for this show. And here we are 99 weeks later, still talking about the Coco. Well, Coco Fest is going on 29 years now. So we can't really, 29 years is a little bit more of a crowning achievement than 99 episodes, but it's still.
I think they help feed each other, which is good. It's kind of that symbiosis between us promoting the fest when we first started, and the fest has been growing, and the fest has sent some new people our way to come watch and even join the show, like Tony himself.
Yeah,
Coco will never die.
Yeah. Well, we all have at least one thing in common, right? And that's our love for this machine, and everything else, right? So,
absolutely. Yeah. Was episode 97 was the longest in history?
Was that the 5-hour one? That might be, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. It was 96 or 97. I think it was.
It's like if I didn't go through that list, and I've already forgotten half the stuff I just read off of that list, but if I didn't go through that list, it's like, again, there are times, probably maybe 24 times out of the 100 episodes where we knew in advance who was going to be on at the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And planning hasn't been our strong suit. But.
Yeah. So, hey, Brian Palmer's here. Bryce is in the live chat. Mad City's in there saying many Coco cats, right? Yeah, but I think this show has definitely been a good cross section of the community.
Yeah.
And it kind of exemplifies the diversity in our community, but not only diversity, but unity,
Yep, I would agree with that. I mean, there's little squabbles every once in a while, but every community has it. Every family has that. But for the majority, we've been pretty supportive of each other.
Camaraderie.
Yeah.
And even beyond the show, just the Coco community in general. I mean, the Facebook group is still expanding. The Coco Fest are still expanding. Yep.
Even just the short amount of time.
Still expanding, so it's all good.
Just the short amount of time that I've been a part of the Facebook group, I've seen it. Like the membership is just, or the number of posts per day has just increased almost exponentially. It seems. It's really encouraging.
Seems like we pick up a new person or three every week on Facebook.
Yeah, we just had Peter Stark, who did Star Kits and actually sold software commercially. And he was quite famous in the old days, advertising in Rainbow and CCN, etc. That his advertisements actually had a little information column, and he used to give away software for free. And his son just joined the Coco group, and I guess he actually helped write a couple of the early pieces when he was young. Be a good guy to get on here too to interview about his dad, because his dad was one of the very first freeware type people who actually gave away some of his software for free.
Oh wow!
In the early '80s, so
cool.
That is cool.
So Ron, get on him since you're the fancy hiring guy.
Well, right now my resources are toward the Rainbow magazine right now.
That's right, and you better not forget it.
Nope. Every spare time I have.
There's that camaraderie we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Mikey's saying that he seems that the mailing list might be declining. Says Facebook may be expanding, but I have noticed recently that the mailing list seems to be declining.
The last week has really slowed down a lot. It went for like a day and a half with no posts.
Yeah, there was a few this week that I remember. Like, Pear always announces his AGD kits in there too, but there's been a few other comments. But yeah, it's been slow for a while, though. I'll be honest. I don't think it's.
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that it is a good resource, and I know it's helped a lot of people, that mailing list, and it's been around forever. It's a part of history. It's kind of like the Olympic torch, where it got passed from one to another, so it's still going, and that's good. But I don't know. For me, the mailing list I don't know. It's too technical, and I'm not a technical person. They're the people you try to elicit engagement on things that you think would be a little bit more of a social topic, and you don't get any engagement, but the stupidest things they want to debate ad nauseum. You know what I mean? So it's just like, if the mailing list was a person, I would call that person an obnoxious douche. So it's just, somebody who I don't want to hang out with. I don't know. If you were to composite the mailing list into one individual, that'd be somebody I wouldn't have a beer with. So it's just like, I know it's weird what people get passionate about and when they decide to get passionate, and you can't control that. But
I think part of the other reason that group in particular is probably declining too is that we're getting into much more audio and visual. Our show being a good example, or showing screenshots of projects that are being worked on, or pieces of hardware that people are developing. And the list is basically just text. You don't get to do any of that. So usually you find a link in there and you have to go to Facebook or you have to go to YouTube to finish reading what the list post was about. So that I think some people are just going, well, why am I bothering? I'll just put it on Facebook or YouTube and everybody will find it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the really good thing about the Facebook group is, I mean, you know, they say the number of Facebook users is 1 point something billion. I mean, that's 1 person in 5 is on
It's
Facebook.
closer to 2, actually.
Is it? Okay, yeah. So 1 person in 3 is on Facebook. So yeah, if you're going to want to be found, that's where you want to go. You know,
Yeah.
even if you don't like Facebook otherwise, it's a good place to put up a little flag so people can find you. And then
Yeah.
send it somewhere else.
Yeah. You know, and
you find, just because I think it's fine too with that 1 in, what is it, 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 or whatever it is that's on there. Most of that will be the Western world. And most of the Western world are the ones that are into, you know, where that's where the Cocos are popular. So you probably find that just about everybody who's been into a Coco or whatever is going to have a Facebook account.
Right. And
Yep.
there
Yeah,
is
that's
a
good.
there's a percentage of people who are anti this social establishment. So there are people who won't get a Google account. There are people who won't be on Facebook. There are people who are, you know, really adamant about their privacy. And while I don't necessarily agree with that, I respect it. I guess I just don't care myself about my own privacy. But, you know, there are some people who are like, I won't be on Facebook. I won't be on social media. And that's fine. And it's also unfortunate. But I would say most people are. And again, this is kind of how I look at it. I know we have a lot of people who are technical and you can really get into the becoming a human white paper, and that's great. But I think most of us here in the panel, we could all sit down and have a beer. And honestly, I would rather hang out with people that I could sit down and have a beer with. And if somebody who doesn't want to be on Facebook, if they still want to have a beer, that's fine. But, you know, I don't want to hang out with people who don't want to sit down and drink a beer. You know, so that's the kind of, it's like when we hang out in the lobby at a Coco Fest at night, that's the kind of people I want to hang out with. So if that is or is not the mailing list, or if that is or is not who's on Facebook, I don't know. But for me, I'd rather just hang out with people who want to hang out and shoot the breeze, you know? So.
Yeah, and my personal opinion is, I mean, Facebook does have security and advertising giveaways of your information issues. But if you're going to be joining it for the Coco community only, like if you're not on Facebook already because you don't trust it for all that stuff, make an account that has as minimal information about you as you want just to be able to join the Coco community and just stick with that. You don't have to like publish pictures of your kids or, you know, what you ate for lunch or anything like that. You can skip all that stuff. It's not necessary. And then you'll maintain your privacy because you're not giving anything away except for the fact you like the Coco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Oh, like you said, Stevie, it's just, to me, it's just really, you know, I've got like 2 Google accounts and I've got two YouTube accounts and, you know, I've got 2 Facebook accounts and I'm a Gemini. So
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, to me, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's probably, you know, they got all our information anyway. You know, to me, it doesn't matter. I'm single. I live alone, except with my cat. Yeah. So really, I mean, that stuff doesn't really matter to me. If they're going to have all the information anyway, then so what? What am I doing that I've got to hide? Really, I'm just living my life. You know, staying out of the way of causing trouble and making my music and playing with my Cocos and whatnot. So really, I just feel it is something it's not an issue. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
So since you're single, would that be your living room?
It is actually, yeah.
I couldn't do that in my house.
Yeah.
My living room is a shrine of a place where people come, and it's clean and nice, and we sit on the couch and there's TV.
There's a huge difference in either single people versus married people and people with kids versus people who don't have kids. Because the people who don't have kids, their houses are nice. They've got nice furniture. They've got like fancy rugs on the floor. They've got, you know, china cabinets and bookshelves and other things. When you've got kids, it's like, you know, it's like my youngest kid's still 10. It's like there is not a room in my house that does not have a pile of kid crap in it somewhere. Like our living rooms have got kid crap in it. Family rooms got kid crap in it. You know, it's just like your house is a storage unit for all your kids' crap. You know, so it's,
I'm my own kid.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's like that cartoon I posted.
Oh yeah, well yeah. The wife says, "Oh, you did the dishes and you're folding laundry, but you're not buying another Coco." So,
that was good.
And
Yeah,
David goes, "I'm single." I don't have
I've
that
got a
problem.
comment about something I just found.
Oh yeah, what's that?
On what is it? MIDIstart.com. A group called Tandy. They've got a song called "Running Scared."
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if I can play it because we'd probably get a copyright notice from YouTube. But like we played some stuff from the band TRS-80. There's a band called TRS-80, and I even got verbal and written permission, or not verbal, but at least written permission from the band to play their songs. But YouTube still got me because the copyright's owned by some electronic algorithmic corporation somewhere. So, yeah, I gotta be real careful about even showing a video. I gotta be real careful about anything I show on YouTube. So tens of 20s of cents are on the line here. So,
I mean, that's one of the nice things for both us and the other podcast too, is that we have some original musicians in both groups, so we can actually at least do segments and advertisements and stuff with our own music, so we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Until Steve starts making too much money, then Bruce and I will definitely be starting to charge him. So,
take a percentage. Don't go for a fixed rate. Take a percentage.
Yeah.
It's one thing I had to be careful of when I was looking for the when I was demonstrating the chiptune player there. But there was a really good version of Aha's Take on Me, and I thought, that'd be cool to do. And I thought, nah, copyright. So I deliberately went through that list and found something that was upbeat and demonstrated the audio capabilities of it well, but without trying to infringe copyright.
Yeah, I wonder how the algorithms would catch something that was done as a MIDI file versus the original recording. I don't know if the MIDI version would trigger a copyright algorithm or not.
Especially if the wave samples don't match. If it's same,
you'd be surprised. It's actually I'm actually blown away by how accurate those algorithms are for the most part. I have put up music before that's been completely different instrumentation to what the original song had.
Yeah.
And all that would be recognizable there would be the melody line or something like that, and it's come up with a copyright.
Wow. If only those algorithms could catch terrorists or something like that, something useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see Mikey's comment in the chat too?
What's that?
Said he shared that cartoon that Ron did there.
Okay.
And she was not happy. Thanks, Ron.
She who must be obeyed. Is that what he calls his significant other?
That's correct.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been an amazing 99 episodes. Pimp your Coco with the rainbow rope. Who's pushing that? Jeff now? Pimp. Jeff, I can't click those links directly from YouTube because I'm not watching YouTube. I don't know if you can let me see if I can find it. Jeff just posted another link. I gotta find it. I got too many tabs open. CoCoTALK, extremely cat. Yes, it is definitely extremely cat friendly show. And I don't want to give anything away, but there's a cat reference in the new Marvel Miss Marvel universe movie thingy, whatever's going on there. Where did it go? Where's that live chat? I'm trying to pull it up here from YouTube, from Facebook. I can't find the link you just sent. Rendezvous, My Coco Cats, Bruce Moore, Forest of Doom. Where did it go? Okay, my DIY Coco voice synth. I have that one in there. I'm looking at this in Facebook. I don't see the link you just posted from Jeff, where it says "Pimp your Coco with this rainbow rope." I can't find that link. All right, never mind. I can't find it. I actually went over to Facebook to try to find it so I could pull it up. So, what is Mark Overholzer saying? CoCoTALK's extremely cat friendly. Yes, definitely. I've got a cat. Jason's got a cat. Mark, David. O'Connor's got a cat. Who else has got a cat? We've had a few people with pets on here. So, no shortage of cats on this show.
There's a cat tail in the picture there right now.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Yeah. Tony Pedraza says he has a cat too. I know. Ron's got Pearl.
That was Shadow, right? Because last week he was getting. I heard Linda yelling at Shadow, and Tony's like, "My name is not Shadow." I'm just so used to hearing wives yelling in the background. I don't know who they're yelling at. I tune it all out, so it's just wah wah wah.
Sort of interchangeable. Rizzo yelling at me, no matter which one.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Steve, were you gonna cover it all? Ed Snyder's Christmas present that he got, the French computer.
Oh, was that
ROM in it?
I missed it. No, I missed it.
He has it's down a ways in the TRS-80 Color Computer Coco group. Anyway, he got this Coco 2 that came with. It says on it, what's it say? Studio. How do they say it? Studio. STUDIAL. It says Tandy TRS-80 Studio on the top.
Okay.
And, it had stickers all over the keyboard.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It had a ROM in it that just did a typing tutor type program, and it came up white instead of green. And you couldn't even put a ROM pack in it because all it did was this one little program. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I'm scrolling down trying to find it.
It's way down on the Coco.
They spelled
group.
color correctly on it, though.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. with or without the U.
And the board doesn't have any. It's an RGB.
Really?
Coco. Yeah.
Didn't it have like CCAM or something? There was somebody that posted one recently.
Yeah, I remember somebody mentioning that. Yeah. So, I mean, as I'm scrolling through Facebook right now, just to give you an idea. So, and unfortunately, the thing about Facebook, it's going to show you things. And is there a way to change the order of most recently commented versus recently posted or something?
You could search.
There used to be an option to change that, but it seems like that Facebook always change things around and remove things.
Yeah, so you never know how it's going to display. Okay, so because whoever comments last, that thing gets bumped to the top.
Right.
Sheldon McDonald just posted something. Anyone with a Game Master cartridge can try this file out. It shows that BASIC and is very capable of playing music. So here's actually a ROM cartridge. That's kind of cool. Todd Wallace asking a question. When it comes to the day-to-day tasks in the Coco, such as file management and loading programs, which method do you like to use? Keyboard and menu, arrow keys, text commands, or mouse? And it looks like keyboard is the winner here. Now, this was a guy posting a video where he basically said, look, my joystick wasn't working well. He showed a before and after, and then I guess he fixed it. And so I guess he changed some capacitors in the joystick and got that working. Hey, Bryza's joined us. Hey, Bryza. Hey, we're live. Look at that. Here's live CoCoTALK Live on CoCoTALK Live as we're live. So
keep going.
Somebody asking a question, is there a simple memory command or memory test, right, for the Coco 3?
Does print mem work on Coco 3?
Yeah, but it only reports basic, so it still only reports up to 32K.
Right. Same issue.
We showed that one off. We showed off, what is this here? Can someone... Okay, we're looking for Ed Snyder, right? There's the white Coco. There's Brian Weasler. There's the sound cartridge, speech sound pack. There's the multi-pack. Here's one where the guy said, someone I know in the Go gaming community wrote this in 6809 assembly. What is this, like a Othello type game? Kind of looks that way.
It's somewhat similar. It's goes a little bit different, though.
Okay, here's like number 24 in the game pack. Anyone in Canada showing Coco 3. This was kind of cool here. What is this? Is this a real one or is this a reproduction? MSI.
That might be the real thing.
Our computer and video game auction. We're having some amazing stuff this time, from Ataris to Apples and even a very rare MSI 8080.
Original.
Wow. That looks pristine.
What is it? What does it do? Is it like a...
It's a clone of the Altair. It's a 8080 based S100 bus system.
It's like a 1975, 74 circa. That's what a home computer used.
I think it was like 76, 77. But
because the Altair was 74, 75, I think. And
this was
just after.
These came
Lots
after
of blinky lights on it, so that's cool.
Yep.
Gunstar blog update number 15. Chapter 15 in the Gunstar blog is up. This was a question about the cassette for the XPad program, and so this is, I think somebody commented this was whatever was in the manual, whatever type-in demos were in the manual was on this cassette. Here's Ed. Okay, Fedor's there. Where the hell's Ed Snyder, dude? Do I need to search?
Yeah, if you look in the comments.
Here's Mark's. Here's Ron Delvau's picture, right? Last night you did the dishes. Today you're folding the laundry. I don't care what you do. You aren't buying another Coco.
Look at his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devil woman. Right? So that got some good feedback. All right, so I'm getting tired of looking. Here,
Right
is
there.
this it right here?
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
You got it.
Oh, look at that little. What the hell is that pad thing?
I don't know what that is.
These keys are worn out. They must have had like some stickers on top of these keys, like these ones here.
Next to you, he cleaned it.
Ah, yeah. Big difference, huh?
Look at that label.
What does that say right there? Studio. What does that say? Studio?
Studio. STUDIAL.
There's somebody else that got one like that too. I posted a link on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a special video connector.
Yeah, RGB on the back. Yeah.
It's RGB. Yeah.
Yep, and it goes out to the start connector.
Take a look at the motherboard.
Super clean. Yeah, that was before, huh?
Doesn't have an RF can.
No RF can on here. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that. What is that little slot right there? I wonder.
That's for the keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not like a Mylar connection.
Mylar slits in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the comments, there's actual pictures of the ROM, or the when he booted it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool looking. Of course, now that my browser's zoomed in, it's all screwed up. I can't get it out. Now, that's really interesting. We got 18, 19 comments on here, right?
Right. Those were pictures of him booting it up. See,
okay.
Studio. That's what comes up.
Oh, we have a choice. We have a choice here. We have different keyboards.
That's probably why they had the stickers on, because you could change the keyboard.
Okay. Oh, so you could change the key layout. Yeah. You're a fart smeller there, Ron Delvo.
Yeah, go the next one.
Like this one here.
That's the last one, I think.
Yeah.
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 Now, is it black and white because of the TV he's on, or like this is a?
That's what the ROM pulls up. It's
I wonder
all
if
the
it's white 'cause it's
software in
actually
the
a
ROM.
graphics screen or something. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's all in the ROM.
No, it's text without the chroma, without the color.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's why I don't think I don't know if it's an RGB. I think it's more the chroma and the luma that's been separated.
Like camera or something?
Well,
we have lowercase on here too.
Yes.
So this must have the T1 chip for the VDG, huh?
I think
Well, you
it's
could do
software.
custom ROM sets for the VDG, remember? Because, Dennis Kits used to sell the lower kit with its own custom. You can link it into the VDG.
It's all in the ROM.
Ken Reichert's asking if there's a real-time clock in the upper left-hand corner of this one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is that a real-time clock over here? I don't know. What days these things are here? This looks like a
With the
freaking can of beer right there. It's a big-ass capacitor there. So, yeah. But it's a clean board.
Was that a T1 video chip there?
Well, that would have been my guess, but as Curtis is saying, it could have been a custom display ROM.
Can you see it in the photo?
Yeah, just the photo there.
Oh,
What
the actual
number?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's only the T1. Does it have any significant numbers?
Read what Ed says.
Which one of these is the VDG? I wouldn't
just in the middle, the big one, underneath the keyboard connector, I think.
Over here. Okay,
6847.
Yes. Yeah, that's just a regular one.
6847P.
Yeah, there's no T on it. There's no T1 on the end of that.
I don't know what
6847P.
number they're meant to have.
Yeah.
The T1's got a T1 after the 6847 on it. 6847P T1, I think it says on it. The T1.
Okay.
And that's so it looks like you were saying, Ron, it must have been just purely done in the ROM and not.
Yeah, he said that if he was to take that ROM out and put a ROM in that he could burn, it would probably, run totally normal.
Okay.
But it won't run. It won't do normal with that ROM in it completely redirects it just to the program. It's like
right, because basically
terminal.
basically the basic ROM cartridge was a piece of software that your Coco booted to. So if you were to place the basic ROM with another program, you could just boot to that piece of software, right?
Yep, that's what Boise did with his Coco Yoda project, where he had that Coco 2 wired into his Toyota.
Oh, I wonder if that's a ROM sitting next to the VDG.
Yeah, maybe.
On the left.
Some type of, it looks like a Hitachi chip because it's got the Hitachi logo on it.
Because it's sitting there right with all the video circuitry. So
the ROM is right next to the connector.
Part of it.
Next to the CPU.
Got the label on it.
And it's upside down. Which is
Okay, and Mikey says this might be a character. There's a couple of comments on there saying that could be that Hitachi chip might have something to do with it. Now that's interesting. That's definitely an uncommon Coco. Yeah, keyboard. It looked like if somebody used this thing as an ashtray in that first picture there. That's looking pretty nasty. So, yeah, neat pictures. So anybody watching this right now, if you aren't in the Facebook group and you aren't on Facebook, you might want to be. And as I mentioned, you don't have to have an account that says who you really are. You could say, I'm Batman, for all we know, on Facebook. So, yeah, cool stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, Facebook is... Go ahead.
What does studio mean? Is it French for like computer or something, or is it?
I'm in it toward the last. Toward the last there is tells.
What was the answer?
I'm looking.
I'm scrolling down right now.
I think someone said it was studio or something.
A studio learner is one who prefers more formal studies, such as in classrooms. A studio learner.
So is that
learning a language through exercise is studio learning rather than experiencing and savoring the learning process. So somebody who likes to learn through exercise, huh? That's what studio means? Okay.
So if you go down a little further, there's that post from George Pad of another studio computer.
Oh, okay.
With that same gizmo on it, and you can see the label on the back.
Okay. Yeah, Studio. It's right here.
Maybe some kind of educational system or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're custom ROM and the keyboard changing and all the rest of it.
Tandy Corporation serial number, Color Computer 2 Paratola version, huh? Paratola version.
Yeah, the Paratol. Somebody said that's for the SCART, another name for SCART.
Ah, okay. Wow.
And you can
220,
see the port.
220 volts, 50 hertz.
Which is standard for France.
Yeah.
I think Ed said that as you type.
That's like an S-video connector or something.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think it's RGB. It's S-video or...
YUV maybe, component.
Or yeah.
Oh, this has more than standard S-video. S-video has
S-video 4 pins. Yeah.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, so this could be a breakout cable that converted to anything else for all we know.
That looks more like the cable on the connector on the Coco VGA.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8
Ed
or 9.
said it was RGB, so I'd go with Ed says he knows what he's talking about.
Right there where it says 2TV is that thing there. So, yeah, it's got the little thing on the front there too, right? So, Studio. You can see this one a little bit clearer.
Mm-hmm. So, wonder what that box thing is.
That's for the little cut channel selector.
Yeah, what is it?
That's the real-time clock.
There's nothing there. So just cover. The George Pat one has a response that shows a cable, SCART cable with that connector on it.
Hmm. Where is that?
That's a different Facebook link. So you're looking at Ed still.
No, I'm looking at George Pat's right now. But
is that? Okay. Yeah. Go back out to the top level and then look to Rogelo Pereira. Response.
In here?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to look through all the here we go, right here. Okay. So this is that pin that breaks it out to SCART, huh?
Yeah. There's actually a picture.
Okay. Yeah, I found it. Okay, so that whatever that pin out there is, it kind of looks like an S-video or like a little mini DIN. That gets broken out into SCART for RGB.
Yeah, there's actually a picture of the cable there if you scroll down. So.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That would be neat to have, right? So, I mean, we're getting that, in a sense, we're getting some of that with Coco VGA, but it would be kind of cool to have a native.
Right there. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool to have a native RGB out from a Coco 1 or 2, huh? Cool. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen those before, so that's every day you see something new, right?
Another variation.
Yeah, just when you think you knew every kind of Coco and variant there was.
That's like my Coco that has the AMI chip in it. That's interesting. Yeah.
I like the model number. It's 3 digits dash and then the standard 4 in the letter. Like, oh.
What is James Diffendaffer showing us here? James put a link. Okay. So there is a link that James posted with some information on that. So, and it's, okay, which is not in English. Oh, but you can hit translate. Google will translate it for you. Translate it. So it says, Tandy Studio, one of the exhibits, Dungeons and Dragons, is dedicated to the Dragon computer family. Among them will be the exclusive Tandy Studio, the teaching version of the TR City Color Computer 2, design of the Dragon. So Tandy Studio 2, model number 265-3134B from 1983. Teaching version of the TR City Color Computer 2. All right. So interesting link that James Diffendaffer posted there in the live YouTube. So check that out, and when you're checking that out, do what you got to do. Cool stuff, man. We've seen it all.
I wonder if that box on the top of it then, with the teaching version, maybe the teacher had that.
I wonder if that's like a timer, where you had so long to do a lesson or something. I don't know.
Looks like it, because it has start and stop.
Yeah.
And it's quartz.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is a real-time clock.
Like maybe you had so many minutes to complete a lesson or something, That's definitely neat.
I posted that I was watching Star Trek in my observatory the other day, and Richard Lorbieski says, I see a real-time clock. it's the little flashing light on my VCR.
It's almost like to watch the original series, if you have old copies on VHS or whatever, that's kind of like we're almost to the point now of like the special edition of Star Wars. It's hard to find a non-remastered version of those shows now, because even the original series got remastered for Netflix in high definition, and they replaced all the spaceships with computer generated imagery and stuff to kind of update the matte paintings and the exterior shots and stuff.
Yeah, I've got all 79 on VHS.
Yeah, so
and then I've got the new generation too.
Yeah.
VHS.
So that would be something, huh?
There's some talk about isn't Picard coming back and doing new episodes now of
Yeah, it's been a few announcements of that. I don't know that they've announced what the series is going to be, but it's from what I understand, it's going to be on that CBS All Access, which is a paid streaming service, which I just won't pay for. So I just think there's too many streaming services now, and it's like and everybody's trying to come up with with something exclusive to reel people in. Like, you can only watch this show here on this service, and I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that. I mean,
this is returning back to the cable, because cable got so broken up with 500 channels. Then when Netflix came, they kind of amalgamated the shows, even if they're a year behind in some cases. So you just had to go to one service again to watch all this stuff, and now it's all splitting up again.
So in 5 years, we'll watch reruns of Discovery.
Yeah, hey, we got somebody on YouTube named Lusty Glaceon. Have you ever watched any Star Trek Discovery? And we tend to get into Star Trek talk, especially after dark. I watched some Star Trek Discovery. CBS No Access is what James Diffendaffer is calling it. So, everybody's trying to get in the streaming thing, and if you had to pay $10 or $12 a month for every single streaming service out there, next thing you know, you're paying more than you would have paid if you just had cable. So.
It's the same thing. All the software companies now too, like a lot of audio, like Pro Tools and even graphics like Adobe with their subscription models.
Yeah.
It gets to be annoying after a while. They say, "Oh, it's cheap," but it's not cheap when you've got half a dozen different accounts that are charging like $20 or $30 or $40 a month or whatever. All of a sudden, or a fortnight, it adds up really quickly.
Yeah.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yes.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
The only one that I've really kept up with is an Adobe photography subscription, because I've been using Photoshop since the mid '90s.
Yeah,
and it's a necessary program, and it's I think it's one that I need, that I use all the time. I've just tried to avoid everything else with a subscription model because it just gets too expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a question for people. If you go to Ron's garage, one of the first pictures you come to is an Atari Home Computer Center showcase thing that Nick Marenti's posted on my.
Oh yeah, and you said we need to make a Coco version of this, right?
Yeah. Has anybody seen anything like that for the Coco ever? Like, did they ever have a?
I think Radio Shack just had stores they had stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't try. It was never. Nothing was ever presented very well. It was a TV on a stand somewhere, and the Coco was there. So the presentation was what you saw on the TV, not what was wrapped around it. So
I would assume that kiosk thing is for like places like Montgomery Wards or CVS.
Yeah, like a retail outlet.
Yeah, so they'd go and they drop it in there. It's like, here, check out our stuff.
Yeah,
that's why I thought it'd be good to edit that Atari one, make it into a Coco one.
Yeah, absolutely.
For laughs.
And change the wardrobe while we're at it.
Yeah, I like that picture that Richard Lorbieski posted of Curtis and I. Like, most non-flattering picture of two white guys ever taken in the history of photography. So
at least I was in better shape back then. But
yeah.
Something that it was interesting on Facebook, talking about news, was Ed Snyder was talking about the Gimme X.
Yeah.
It's
just sleeping a lot.
Yeah,
large discussion going on that one too. So
he's like the first guy to run a Coco 3 without the Gimme chip.
Yeah,
right.
It's going to be like Coco 4. Yeah.
That was my next topic. The next point I was going to make there was that the Gimme X discussion was leading on to developing another whole motherboard and developing it as the
and Ed has stated that is the ultimate goal eventually, is to actually make it. I mean, the Coco 3 FPGA and the Matchbox and some of the other ones are kind of like that, the Mister and stuff. Yeah. But this is based on the actual Coco.
Yeah, this is hardware, isn't it? Real hardware.
Real
hardware.
Coco. Yeah,
all Coco 3, but the Gimme. Yeah.
Right, because the Gimme, you can't get it. You can't get a Gimme, so it has to be kind of fabricated, for lack of better terms, right? So,
but we're on the verge,
or replicated, to use a Star Trek term there, right? So. Tea, Earl Grey, hot. So, you just can't do it. It was a custom chip that Tandy made. The Motorola CPU is still in circulation and the equivalents of it, the Hitachi versions. But this was a custom chip designed by Tandy, and they just stopped making it. Like the Motorola 6809, we've already seen it's been in keyboards. It's been in all kinds of stuff. So that chip had a life that was bigger than the Coco. So it's still floating out there because it's been in 1 million devices. That Gimme was in Coco 3s. It was made by one company for one period of time, and that was it. So when they're gone, they're gone.
And manufactured by VLSI. Are they still even around? I don't even know.
It's pretty cool that Ron's doing that. The Ed's doing the Gimme.
Yeah.
Well, Ed's dabbling with the hardware design. Gary Becker's doing the programming because he has that same software basically on the Coco FPGA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Extracting that part.
Yeah.
It's
the Gimme has been emulated in FPGA at least twice now. And so, like I say, Gary Becker with the Coco 3 FPGA and Roger Taylor's done it once or twice.
Yeah. And with enhancements. I mean, they both have enhancements above and beyond the regular Gimme.
Higher resolutions. Yeah.
So they got the 256 color mode. Did they get in the 2-layer graphics?
No, but it does generate VGA output. So
yeah, that's nice.
Which is, and he even mentioned that they're getting artifact colors now, kind of the same thing as the Coco VGA now, where you can emulate the composite stuff through RGB, which is a
I
nice
think they're
feature.
just doing the VCC style at this point, though, just the standard 4-color, not the subtler colors that you get with Coco VGA.
Yeah,
that's still better
look, yeah. That's in the demo that he showed, a quick little video, the last video that he posted up a few days ago. It had the artifact color mode. You had the red and the blue and black and white.
I've got a trivia question. What does GIME stand for?
Graphics
interrupt memory enhancement.
Yeah.
It's also known as ACVC chip. I think that was the other alternative.
Yeah.
What's that stand for?
That was audio,
advanced audio,
and something with audio video.
Yeah. Gimme sounds cooler.
Yeah,
give
me
that chip.
Give me that chip, right? Or some people
that was
pronounce
Lonnie
it.
Falk's joke that gimme meant, give me more power, give me more color, give me more, that's
yeah. And I've heard some people call it the GIME. It's the GIME chip. So.
I have not heard that before just now.
It's a good chip when you consider what it does. It's a fair bit packed into one chip.
Yeah, and it made the Coco 3 cheaper than the Coco 2 to manufacture, so that was a huge part of it for Tandy.
Including emulating, for the most part, the VDG.
Because it had the semi-graphics, which
was
actually, that's another thing. The Coco VGA will support the semi-graphics modes, too.
Mm-hmm.
Or Coco Gimme X, I should say.
Well, Adam Coolidge asked a good question. Is where it was made. He thought it might have been made in a Tandy plant. That image.
No, it was made by VLSI.
Well, the Coco Underdog book that Boise and Bill did, they talk about the Gimme and what, the path that they took to get there. I guess they were looking for something and there just wasn't enough. There was another chip they were looking at made by Motorola that would have had 4,096 colors, which almost sounds like what made its way into the Amiga. Again, probably another 68,000 reference model type thing.
That was the MMS or something. And
yeah. So they were looking at that, but there would have been a supply shortage or a cost too. But I think there was also just so at the end of the day, it always boiled down to cost, right? So
I think it didn't work properly or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been ready for the release of the Coco 3 irregardless. It wasn't.
Well, that said that it was too slow in the emulation mode of doing the Coco side when it was used with the 6809. That's the reason why he vetoed and said, no, we don't want it. If it's going to slow down, it's going to be useless.
Yeah. It was basically designed for the 68000 series, but it would work with the 6809, but not well, is what I'm reading.
Just going to slow down. It would bottleneck itself.
What could have been,
Yep.
So,
what's gonna be is cool.
What's gonna be? Yeah. So now we're starting to get into. Have you guys heard of this movie called Alita? That was just it's in theaters now. It's kind of a James Cameron thing. It's a real sci-fi kind of visual effects heavy thing. It's based on a manga, which is kind of like one of these Japanese animated things. But it really dealt with people kind of augmenting themselves and people turning themselves into cyborgs just for more enhancements and more parts and more upgrades and stuff. And it's kind of like, when I watched that movie and you look at these people, it's like, well, when do you stop becoming a person and you're becoming something else that's not even human anymore? And I know that question has come up on the Coco. Is like, when does a Coco cease to become a Coco, or what's appropriate for a Coco mod or hack or upgrade, and what's not appropriate? And I think we've always arrived at the opinion that, listen, that's in the eye of the beholder, right? Everybody's take on what's cool and legit is different. You got the purists, and you got other people that's like, yeah, you just turn it to 11. So. But when you start to get into things like Gimme X with more color and more resolution and all these other things, or if we got a 4,096 color chip, like we're already talking about this new sound chip now that you have in your Mega Mini MPI, even though that chip existed around the time of the Coco 3, I almost feel like the technology and the output from that is a higher fidelity than what the computer historically has done. I feel like that chip is on a higher level than the Coco. Now we have things like the Gimme X and this newer sound chip. We're almost going to turn the Coco into an Amiga. We're like a stone's throw away from doing that. So now, is it still a Coco when you do that? And you have all these custom chips and these custom sound chips?
Well, I guess the question is, like, do you consider an Apple II GS to still be an Apple II? You and
That was a good question that came up recently, and a lot of people don't, because it's more like a completely new computer that is backward compatible with the Apple II,
which is kind of what is being proposed as the Gimme X, right?
Yeah.
Or the
It's
Coco
like,
VGA, for that matter.
sure. I mean, the Apple II GS targets an Apple IIe or Apple IIc with 128K. Pretty much everything runs on it, but it's also got this sonic sound chip in it with 32 voices and 64K of RAM just for the sound chip. It's like, and then of course better graphics and lots of other built-in stuff. So,
I guess it comes back to where you're at the time when I first got into the Cocos in the early '80s. I was always fascinated by electronics, and I was always a tweaker and upgrading things and doing this and that and the other. Like this one here, as I was saying, is my original one, and it's got the upgraded keyboard, and I upgraded it from 16K to 64K, and other DAC outputs and everything that it didn't have originally, so I could connect it up to laser light shows that I built back then. And so to me, the Coco's always been an ongoing project where I'm always upgrading and adding something new and doing this and doing, it's got Coco VGA and then Mega MPI and SDC. It's 6309s in it now. Whereas something like in the background there, that synth 75 that came out. With synthesizers, I tend to be in two camps. That one there is a highly collectible synth, and it's all completely 100% original. I won't even change a knob that isn't an original knob if one's broken.
Okay.
So for certain things, some instruments, and that instrument in particular, I'll keep completely original. Whereas other synthesizers, I've modified beyond recognition almost. So to me, the Coco is something that was a fun project to upgrade. And if you could do something else to it to make it to do something different, it's still a Coco, but it's doing something different to what or more than what it can still do all the original tasks, but it can also do other things that it couldn't originally do. So.
And the Coco always was a hacker's machine. Like if you look at the old AlphaSoft ads where they sold like an 8-slot before the multi-pack came out bus with, I think, 20 or 30 different hardware cards you can get. And we've had quadruple serial ports and we've had MIDI cards and all kinds of stuff. It's always been a hacker's computer where they've added on tons of new hardware. So
But there's only always been 3 from Radio Shack Tandy. So
yeah, but even Tandy added in like sound cards and
right. But the next one that comes out, if it's going to be a new motherboard, it's going to be like the Apple II GS then.
Yeah, that I would agree. But the Gimme X for me qualifies as an upgrade, not a, we're not totally away from the Coco at this point.
So do you think down the road, 20 years from now, there'll be a new case made, a new motherboard, backward compatible to one that goes forward and has, like an Amiga?
What they were doing with FPGAs and 3D printing and stuff now, I would imagine if there's enough of a market for it, they would. They're already doing it with Commodores and some of the more mass market machines from that era.
Oh, the Commodore, they found the original molds for the 64C. They actually did a run a few years ago. You get them in clear, blue, red, white.
Oh, wow.
And the Amigas.
I didn't hear about the Amigas, but okay.
But you anything you think of, you can do now. Right?
Yeah, well,
pretty much.
We saw John Strong showing a scale model of a Coco 2/3 case that he's doing in 3D printing. So he's working on kind of a proof of concept there. So if you have a big enough 3D printer, you could print up a replacement case.
Yep.
Or a custom one. So if Ed Snyder's working on a new motherboard, we'll call it the Coco 3.5, if you will, because, Coco 4, I think, is trademark and blasphemy all at the same time. But yeah, so if he makes a new Gimme X style motherboard, John Strong could make a 3D printed case that still looks around the same size as a Coco 3, but has the right pinouts and screw holes for a new custom motherboard and stuff.
Yeah. If the market's there, I think it'll happen. I mean, the 3D printers are advancing so fast. I mean, look how far in the last 5 years.
I mean, I am not that interested in spending $200 on one of these FPGA projects. I think they're neat, but to me, I don't know. I'm just not. It's not for me. I like it. I'm glad it's happening, but I don't know that I want one. But I would probably spend $400 on a custom Coco 3, that's made by like Ed Snyder and John Strong. I mean, I would probably drop some money into a brand new design Coco 3, whatever you want to call it, just as long as it's fully backwards compatible. If it's got new features, but I can still pop in a cartridge and run an old cartridge on it, plug in my old Coco joysticks. If I can use my old stuff and I have new features and it's a new computer, that would be awesome,
Yeah. We had the discussion before. Actually, we had a show dedicated to that, discussing like what is going too far where it's not a Coco anymore.
Yeah.
And personal opinions change depending on who you're talking to. So.
Right. Yeah.
I'm on your side on that one, but
so going on Facebook with your future Coco might be a thing that could happen someday.
All I know is Coco 4 is a hot topic, so I say we just skip it and go right to Coco 5.
Go to Coco 5.
Yeah.
Kind of like what
Coco
Windows
X.
did.
Let's just do an Apple and go straight to 10 and call it the Coco.
Or
Coco X.
Got the Give Me X, and it's already halfway there. I mean,
Coco X. There you go.
Yeah. We're on the Coco 3.0 at the moment.
3.0.
I need up the numbers added in.
Now,
look, we have Coco 3.11.
Yeah, 3.11. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Coco for work groups.
No more numbers. We don't need them.
Yeah.
3.0A then.
Coco Ed.
What was I going to say? So yeah, I ideally I'd like it to have all the hardware backwards compatibility, but if it had newer things like USB ports and HDMI out and stuff like that too, that would be kind of cool as well, right?
Yeah. I'm with you, Stevie, on the whole thing with the FPGA stuff too. It's not really a Coco. It's an emulator, really.
Yeah.
Hardware-based emulator. That's how I view it as well.
Yeah, hardware-based emulator, and it's neat. But I mean, I've got the Raspberry Pi, so I've got a little box already that I can plug into a monitor and run a Coco software-based emulation on it. I know they're similar, not quite the same. But yeah, I guess
technically MAME or VCC is kind of a Coco emulator too. So I mean, you can plug in some of the hardware, but
yeah.
Ron Klein's working on a new release for the show, I think.
Okay, a new updated of Coco Pi.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, we got so many options. There's so many options in the Coco. But yeah, for me to wax nostalgic about these past 99 episodes, I think the most important thing I would just want to say would be 2 words, would be thank you to everybody who continues to show up every week to be on the panel, and everybody who's been showing up all these weeks to just be part of the conversation with us. It's just weird.
And also all the people that download the podcast versions and watch it on YouTube after the fact.
Yeah. It's just
Is this where we talk about my demerits for not being on for the last month?
Who are you again?
Yeah, why are you still here? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, how's your Patreon doing? Are you doing very good with that?
Yeah, I mean it's covering the expenses of the show, so it's,
good.
Not trying
Cool.
to. It's not paying any bills, but it's paying the expenses. So yeah.
You're not leasing a new car or anything.
No.
No, I didn't have enough money left over after the yacht.
I am making some of the gas payments on one of Nick's Learjets, though. So put a gallon of gas in it the other day.
It's got to have somewhere to store all those Ferraris.
Yeah.
Is it the Learjet? Is that how we're getting over to Coco Fest? Is it?
Yeah. Nick's gonna fly his private jet over there. He can stop by and get you. So.
That sounds like a plan.
So
we'll have
a charter, and Nick can just fly you.
So we're going to have a Coco X in the future with Nick appearing. That's OS 9 in it.
Yeah. It'll have. Imagine that. Like, now that would be kind of cool. Like if internet updates, right? It's got to have an Ethernet port. So if there's a new firmware update to the EMI X or a new firmware update to the ROM, or
did you get it?
Yeah.
Or I could use the SP8266.
You can have OS 9 on a freaking flash card that's built into the motherboard. You just boot straight to OS 9. You can hold down a different key for what you want to boot to. You want to boot to DOS, you want to boot to OS 9, that would be kind of cool. Right? Fuzix.
Hold down the function key and you get a boot menu.
Yeah. That would be cool, right? So
who's gonna guess that fourth would make a comeback, huh?
Fourth. May the fourth be with you.
Yeah.
So. Who's going to be the first one to code a game for the Gimme X chip when it is done? Who wants to take bets on who's going to do the first one?
Chet Simpson.
Yeah,
he's already got the sound under control. So yeah,
yeah, right.
Just a little bit of
a bleeding edge
stretch goal.
Ported to the MC10.
Jim Gary. Jim Gary's going to port something to it, right? So,
what would you call fourth on the MC10? It would be like second.
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 1/4.
It would be firth.
Yeah,
firth. It's not. It's the very first version of fourth.
There was a clone of the Sinclair computer, the ZX81, called the Jupiter Ace, which was fourth based instead of basic.
Interesting.
The John Connery computer.
Okay.
The fourth.
Fourth.
The lisp.
Lisp and fourth and the first.
Yes, lovely party. Pity I wasn't invited. Yes. So
that's the one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I definitely want to say thank you to everybody who's been part of this collective experience that is CoCoTALK, because I think CoCoTALK is an amalgamation of the Coco community. We've been inspired by everybody who has kind of, brought the Coco, bringing sexy back and bringing the Coco back. These past 4 or 5 years between the Coco Crew podcast and the Facebook group and the mailing list and all these things have been kind of like getting people interested, and the more people get interested, the more people get on, and it's just been this big kind of snowball, this self-perpetuating snowball of enthusiasm that's continued to kind of
don't forget
inspire.
Discord too.
Yeah, the Discord channel.
Steve, you're the gimme chip of this unit here.
Really advanced and cheap. Yeah.
Something that can't be obtained anymore.
Yeah.
And overheats occasionally.
Yeah. And I have some sparkles every now and then. So, So maybe we'll wrap up this dumpster fire for one night. We didn't have Richard Lorbieski. We had no trolls tonight, but we did have a Nick Marotta in here. So that was good. And we had Tom C. We have Mark Overholzer. We've got Lusty Gleason out there. We've got James Diffendaffer in the live chat. The live chat's been a hotbed. I've not been completely on top of the chat. If I was to scroll back right now, I would just see Mark Overholzer, Tom C., Ken Reichert, Tim Franklin's been out here. D. Bruce Moore was in the live chat. Nick Marotta was in the live chat. Nick Marotta, Tom C. We have Matt CHY. I don't know how to pronounce that. Chai. We have somebody named Sylvanian Rasu talking about Pyramix was on par with Qbert for the C64.
Sylvain actually programmed a game for the Coco. I'm just trying to remember which one, though.
Who's that?
Sylvain. He did a Coco 1 and 2 game that he tried selling commercially way back in the day, and I think I actually have it on my site for download. I'll have to look it up, though. I can't remember the details because it's been a while.
Perry Dewick has been out here. L. Curtis Boyle has been here. Ken Reichert, Nick Marotta.
Tony Pedraza's been really quiet.
Tony Pedraza's been here. Yeah, Nick Marotta, Ken Reichert. T.L. Stieg has been out here. Lots of people in the live chat. Lots of live chat here. D. Bruce Moore. Man, Matt. Brian Bryza's been in the live chat. There's just been so many people. Too many people to mention, but thank you all for hanging out tonight.
Dork Chief was on there as well.
Who's that?
Dork in Chief. That's what James put up there. I don't know who he's calling Dork in Chief, but
Talking Chief?
No, Dork in Chief.
Dork in Chief.
Dork in Chief.
I think that's Stevie.
Yeah, it must be.
James Diffendaffer, Mike Craig has been out here. Matt. Yeah, it's so many people. Yeah. So yeah, it's been great. It's been 99 episodes. It's like every week, and I don't know what you guys go through, but sometimes you're busy with work or you're busy with life, and it's just like it's the weekend. There's a million things we could possibly do, and there isn't a Saturday that goes by where sometime around 2 or 3 o'clock, since we've changed the time slot, around 2 or 3 o'clock, I start to say, man, do I really have to do this show tonight? It's like, it's Saturday. There's a million other things I could do. So there's times where I just say, man, I just don't want to, I just don't want to, or whatever. Sometimes you just want, but it's like every time I get on this show, it's like, man, it's been fun. And most of the time I look forward to this. This is like the highlight of my week. But, there's certain days where it's like, oh man, I'm just tired, or I'm lazy, or I want to be lazy. I just don't want to do it.
You don't want to be the gimme anymore. You want to be a ROM pack.
Yeah.
We just have to remember to avoid talking about disassembling basic ROMs.
Yeah, but for better or for worse, this 99 episodes of this stuff, I wouldn't take any of this back, and we can look back at some of the earlier episodes and say, yeah, listen, we weren't trying to be anything. We were just a bunch of guys talking, and from that, it kind of grew into different shapes and stuff. But now we try to be somewhat, at least, we try not necessarily, I don't know if we want to call it professional, but we try to, keep it moving where it's not just whatever.
Less unprofessional is what I call
it. Yeah, less unprofessional. Well, we try, but it's a fluid, spontaneous, just kind of, it is what it is. But it's been a great ride. Been very unexpected for me. Most of this I never would have planned or expected in a million years. What's already happened has been amazing. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I would say I look forward to it. And I want to thank all you guys here.
And the live interaction, both in the chat and on the host panel here, with guests coming on every single week, sometimes brand new to us. That's one of the key parts of the show for me is that interactivity where you actually are involved in the show. It's not just something you listen to after the fact. Though some people do, obviously.
Yeah.
There's something that's I've found too. This is only my second time on the panel, and some of you guys we communicate with through the Facebook group, and some through email, and collaborating on projects and whatnot. It's just amazing. You guys feel like family. I mean, I've only been on here twice.
That's more like how it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For the most part, it's very supportive. It's a very
Uncle
nurturing.
Steve's been a great guy.
Yeah. It's been a very collaborative, kind of nurturing, supportive community, and every now and then there, a few things kind of come to a head. There are a handful of titans that do clash, but for the most part, I think a lot of us we play very well together in the sandbox, right? So, and the few times there have been a few clashes, they have not been huge and they haven't lasted forever, and so I think for the most part, it's been a mostly functional family, so.
Everybody's rooting for the Coco, and I think that's the reason that we are able to keep that, because we're used to, we were the underdog back in the 80s when the Coco was out. I mean, we were getting compared to Apples and Commodores and Ataris, and we were the underdog then, so we kind of united together even back then.
Ugly stepsister.
Rainbow. Yeah, with Rainbow Magazine and all the rest too, and I think we're just kind of continuing that tradition now. So I think that's one of the reasons we're a bit more close-knit and probably not quite as argumentative as some of the other broader communities are.
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe some of these people that are in the other groups are going to want to come by and see what we're doing.
No, they're welcome to. I have tried a few times on my own to broaden horizons and stretch out and invite outside of the Coco groups, and it didn't bode well for the most part. So I'm not trying to do that on my own. I just figure if it happens, it happens. I encourage other people to share it out, but
I'm kind of surprised about the dragon people. We don't have a couple of them here.
Well, we have in the past, and so when we were on at an earlier time, we did have a few people from the UK on. Karen was on a handful of times. Davey Mitchell was on a few times. We've had Richard Cavell, but I think even when we were in a different time slot, the number of UK folks you could probably count on a hand and a half, and the frequency you could probably definitely count on one hand. So it just wasn't there, but it just is what it is. I'm not casting any judgment on that or trying to analyze that, and I certainly hold no malice towards that. If they haven't been here, it just hasn't been. The door is always open, and they're always welcome here if they can make it. I still consider the Dragon part of the family. I consider the MC10 part of the family. And we got Mark Overholzer and Apple Guy in here, right? So it just shows you how.
And they're still active in the community. I mean, Pear Surratt and and Steve Bamford and Kieran are all active on Discord or active on Facebook and stuff too. So some people just don't want to be in public either. So that's
Yeah, maybe
We're kind
some
of a
people
public
are
shop.
not just not hot air bags like we are, you know. So, and James Diffendaff is saying, I've been a very lonely advocate for the Coco on the Atari Age forum, which is a big established thing, you know. So, which is kind of cool. So.
That's where I first met James, was on Atari Age.
Yeah, but as far as, you know, I think I speak for all of us, where everybody's welcome to join us on the panel and or in the live chat. So whether or not you've owned a Coco, if you're just a fan of retro and vintage and you're kind of a geek for nostalgia, you still are kind of, you know, of the same cloth as us. And I think we can all learn from each other. Like, we've had some of the guys on, some of my friends I've made in the Florida Retro Club, and I've learned a lot by listening to guys like Javier, who do retro brighting and do Apple stuff and make custom LCD screens for the Apple and stuff. So I actually like learning about other systems that I don't own. I like learning about what they're doing in the Apple II space. There's a heck of a lot more hardware for the Apple II than there is for the Coco. There's a lot more people making hardware for almost all the other 8-bit systems because they're bigger markets, you know.
Yep. I've been watching that 8-bit guy, and he's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He has a lot of different things on.
I think he's really Commodore focused, but he covers a lot of stuff.
He does.
Stevie, I was going to ask too, I don't know if you've checked, or maybe there hasn't been that much, but what has the feedback been as far as stuff like YouTube comments and emails from people? Have we had much lately, or have you followed up on that?
Well, good question. I don't have an immediate answer. I would say there is feedback. It's not stagnant. I don't do a very good job of bringing it onto the show because I have so many other things to try to remember to do to the show. I do try to respond to comments in a fairly timely manner. But yeah, so, you know, if I had to put a number on it, I would say we get a handful of replies I get probably once a day, I get a comment on either a past episode of the show or one of my Coco videos. So I am daily responding to somebody on a previous posting of some form. At least once a day, so several times a week. But yeah, I don't always remember to make that part of the show, like feedback, you know, viewer feedback and stuff like that. So
the other day I had a meeting with a guy that I haven't met or seen in 50 years. He was in a band with me, you know.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He contacted me, yeah. And so he tells me when we met and talked, he goes, "Hey, I understand you have a Coco 3." And I go, "Yeah," because, you know, he's looking at my stuff on Facebook, and I said, "Do you know what that is?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think I might have had one, but I can't remember. It's been a long time." And we never really touched on that again, but it was cool that he said that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, Brian Palmer just found a fountain of youth and became like 10 years old. There was
How's
that? He just got old again. Wait a second. He was old and he was young and now he's old again. So there he is. Hey, how did you do that? Yeah. So, I mean, I only ever own the Coco, but I'm interested in a lot of those systems. I'm definitely interested in what other people are doing with the Ataris and Commodores and TIs and you know, all that stuff. So it's neat to see what's going on. I would imagine that not only is there a lot more hardware, but I would imagine that the homebrew community is much larger with software offerings. You know, I'm grateful that we have half a dozen releases every year of new software, but I'm sure like on Atari Age and stuff like that, and I know on the ColecoVision there's a number of companies making new brew all the time. So I'm sure a lot of these other systems are getting a lot more new hardware and software more frequently than we are. But again, Coco's always been the underdog, you know. So
the other day I was you know, looking at different things, and I run across a computer called a Micro B.
Yep.
It's an awesome
I know the Micro B really well. Yeah, that was the second computer I learned on.
Never ever heard of it.
Yeah, what was I think when David was talking about that, when he was talking about the machines that he went through, you were mentioning a guy's name too. Was it Steve something, or there was a guy who sold computers in Australia? What was his name?
I don't know. I don't recall that.
Was it Dick Smith?
Dick Smith.
Oh, Dick Smith. Yeah, Dick Smith System 80. That was the first computer.
Yeah. So I remember seeing those ads.
There's a funny story about Dick Smith, actually. Dick Smith Electronics was he started off a store of electronics stores Australia-wide, And me being a naive young, enthusiast into electronics, the late 70s, early 80s, and Dad said, "I'll take you into the electronics, to Dick Smith Electronics," and it was one of the outlets that we had in our city. And I said to him, I said, eyes lit up, and I said, "Am I going to meet Dick Smith?" I thought that was the only Dick Smith store in Australia, was that one, and I said,
okay,
yeah,
young. How old are you?
Yeah. How old am I now?
Yeah.
47.
Oh,
so, yeah. Before
that would be like walking into any Radio Shack store saying, "Hey, is Charles Tandy going to be here?" Right? So.
Exactly. Yeah. But Ron, you mentioned the MicroB. That was the second system that I learnt on. And MicroB systems are actually in business now, and they just finished a new run of making the original MicroB computers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they're even making a video adapter for hooking up different model computers to their like a VGA connector. They're doing it as well.
Are they Z80s or what are they?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So another one, the BBC looks interesting with the red keys going across the top.
The BBC
Micro. It's a British one.
What is that based on?
Oh, nothing. It's a British computer.
Yeah.
I think it runs on tea and crumpets.
And long-range radio broadcasts.
Yeah, so.
And the Irish version added Guinness, I think, or something.
Oh, no, that's the Irish one.
The BBC Micros.
I've heard of the Acorn.
Yeah, did the Acorn make it for the BBC Micro?
I don't know what the specs on it were.
Become ARM or something too, or something along that line. Or
well, the ZX Spectrum. The Spectrum is a UK machine, right? The Specky.
Yeah, that's the same guys that did the ZX81 and ZX.
And that's Z80 based, right? The Spectrum.
Yeah.
But the BBC, I think, was 6502.
Okay.
And then there's the MCX computers.
MCX or MSX?
MSX, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a Japanese machine. I've got one. I haven't messed with it yet, but yeah, that's a neat system. Microsoft was involved in that one. That's a Z80
that's a
based
whole platform.
Yeah, it is. It's literally a platform. Yeah.
So we must sound strange spewing out all these computers that we don't know nothing about.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing about the retro hobby. There's a lot to learn about if you really wanted to. It's like all of us now, especially like if you're just new getting into Coco, if you just got back into Coco today, you could spend a year learning about what's been going on the past 5 to 10 years in hardware, from the Coco SDC to this to that to the other. You know what I mean? And we're one system, and we're probably the smallest community with augments and add-ons. You know, imagine, like, for me, I've never owned an Apple. When I get this Apple IIc that I bought last year, when I finally ever get that thing home and I have to learn about what can I do with an Apple today, my head's probably going to explode. You know what I mean? It's like, what do I plug into the serial port to load software into it? Because how am I going to get software into an Apple IIc? This is a question I don't know the answer to right now. So when I start that journey, we're
going to need Grant Leedy to.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's going to be a rabbit hole. You know. So and that's just one system. I've got a TI 99.4A in the box I haven't messed with. If I wanted to start learning about that and all the cartridges and add-ons and the F18 boards and all these things you can do to a TI, that could take me a year of discovery and experimentation to learn. I've got an Atari 8-bit sitting on the floor down here too that I've never plugged in. If I start to learn about that, it's just like, well, what's the equivalent of the Coco SDC for the Atari? And
you're all set for retirement.
You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, that's why I don't even turn these things on. Because I don't have time to get sucked into more vortexes, It's just like, so. But it's
I've got a bail, guys.
All right, then, Nick.
I'll see you next week. Yep.
Micro B basic, huh? Look at
see
that.
You later.
Take care, Nick.
Good night.
See you later, Nick.
See you. Bye.
Or good day.
Ron, here's something that.
Oh yeah.
Micro
that's
B.
The original. That's the original reference manual that I was using. It's inside. There's like basic program listings in it everywhere, and
wow,
it's quite advanced. It's a good book.
You don't get books of computers
Do you
anymore.
still have one?
No, I don't. But I actually wouldn't mind getting a micro B just for nostalgia purposes. But like you're saying too, Steve, it's the whole time thing. You know, two Cocos. I've got a third Coco one, an NTSC Coco one, and I've got. Thanks, Bryce. I've got that the Coco 3 on its way as well. So if I got a micro B here as well, I never get anything done.
We got somebody on YouTube named John Anchor that says, I just ordered my first Coco ever. That's cool.
Oh, wow.
So
a newbie.
Yeah. Man, you're never late. It's never a wrong time.
You know what? One of these days we'll be having the show go on. And, you know, have you ever been in a hospital and they play the little nursery rhyme and a little baby's been born? You ever hear that?
Say that again now?
When you're in a hospital, sometimes you'll be, you know, visiting somebody at the hospital.
And if a baby's born, they play that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe, you know, in the future when we're having our CoCoTALk and we'll have a little sound that comes up. Oh, we got a newbie.
Hey, you got your Coco 3 yet?
Coco 3. It's like another angel got its wings. You know?
Yeah.
It's really encouraging to have new people, you know, joining in. There's a young guy that I bought a big Yamaha organ off recently to add to my studio, and when he come in here, he saw my Cocos, and he's right into everything. He's a young fella, but he's right into everything 80s, and he was absolutely.
Know what those are?
Yeah, he did. He saw them there, and he was really interested in it, and he's so he's looking. He might be getting himself a Coco soon. So,
neat.
That's how the neighbors turn, huh?
Yeah, continue the new the next generation of Coco enthusiasts.
Well, if you make enough noise, you'll have neighbors wandering over. Well, what's going on? What's the noise?
So John ordered a Coco 3 from Cloud9. So there you go. So you know it's going to work, and it'll probably be fully upgraded too. Cool.
What does everybody here recommend as the best RAM? Would the Boomerang, the 2 megabyte, or what's the best RAM upgrade for the Coco 3?
If you have soldering skills, I would say the Boomerang at this point.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
you get 2 meg.
If you want to do the 2 meg, your CPU would need to be in a socket. So if you've got a Coco 3 with a 6309, it's already been socketed. But by default, the Coco 3, it's soldered in. So it has to be desoldered and socketed because the 2 meg board has the DAT board that goes under the CPU to help manage that extra memory. And that memory is really only going to be helpful. Well, I wouldn't say only. It's mostly helpful to OS 9. Although I think Chet Simpson immediately helpful to OS 9, but I believe Chet Simpson's going to be writing a RS-DOS game for it. But without doing that, a Boomerang board or a Cloud9 Triad board will get you 512K. Either one of those will be fine. No soldering required.
I've heard different reports of it. Was there one that runs really, or maybe that was a stock Tandy one, but was one bunch of 512K that ran really hot?
Those were the old ones. All the original 512 meg or 2 meg boards ran really hot. So all the new ones are using static RAM now, the Boomerang and the Triad, and they run cool.
Low power.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, soldering's no problem for me.
Right. So
electronics take for years. So
yeah, I think the current 2 products you can buy today would either be the Triad from Cloud9 or a form of Boomerang from Boyson Tech. Jim Brain from Retro Innovations is working on a couple of solutions too that will be solderless because they're going to go underneath the CPU. So it'll be a kind of a pass-through memory upgrade. So he's coming up with an 8 meg board for the Coco 3. It's called Coco Mem, and I think he's going to come up with 512 or 2 meg or something for the Coco 1 and 2. It's called Coco Mem Junior. The Moo, we talked about the Moo recently. So you can add a Moo, which is a cartridge that you can plug in. That gives you 512K and a memory management unit, an SD card and other things. So there's a Moo board that's memory too. So handful of options. So yeah, it's amazing. It's staggering. I think there's definitely more hardware than there is software right now, but still we've got a decent amount of software. And you got a lot of people like the what's the new one, Dungeon Crawl, right? So Dungeon Crawl is a new product. So yeah, new things are being released. Different software coming out all the time. So it's kind of cool.
I think probably when you go to Coco Fest, people hold back till then to show stuff they're doing.
Yeah, there might be some people working on projects that they're gonna.
Yeah, they'll announce it officially at the fest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so we beat this show to death.
I think so.
We spent 99 hours on our 99th episode, so I think it's good. But yeah, I just want to say how grateful I am for everybody who's been part of this experience, because it's been fun. It's been amazing to me that we've continued this tradition it's definitely become a tradition. Saturday Coco Talks are a tradition that I hope don't end, so good times. Wow. We just got a really interesting comment from somebody named John Smith. Okay.
Sure.
No, we're gonna pass on that. Okay. We're not bringing this into the After Dark realm. All right. So on that note, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play the closing credits, and then we'll come back for parting thoughts. So give yourself a minute or two to think about what you want to say to the rest of the world as we say goodnight. So I gotta find my outro. Where the hell is the outro? Actually, before we do the outro, how about we play Make the Trek, a little teaser for Coco Fest, a little production by D. Bruce Moore, and then we'll play the outro, and then we'll come back for parting thoughts.
The reading's growing stronger, Captain. Coming from a star system directly ahead.
Coco Fest, make the trek to the place you belong. Illinois, Heron Point, make the trek. Coco Fest.
Coco Fest, May 4th and 5th, 2019 in Lombard, Illinois. Make the trek. Touch the heron.
Fascinating.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at CoCoTALK.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to CoCoTALK@CoCoTALK.live. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click on the Patreon link on our site at CoCoTALK.live. CoCoTALK would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Karen Anscombe, Simon Jonason, and many, many more. Special thanks to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and to Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, and Rob Inman for all of their bonus content and contributions, as well as Roger Taylor for getting us on the Coco TV channel on Roku. Please help support the Coco community by visiting some of its contributors. The Coco Crew podcast at cococrew.org. Glenside Color Computer Club, host of Coco Fest at glensideccc.com. Jim Brain and Retro Innovations at go4retro.com. Tandy Assembly at tandyassembly.com. Boyson Technologies at boysontech.com. Get your own switcheroo and wallaby cable at cocoman.biz. Cloud9 Technologies at cloud9tech.com. CoCoTALK is hosted by Steve Strobridge. Co-hosts, technical directors, segment hosts, and producers Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Grant Leedy, Mark Overholzer, Ron Delvaux, and Jason Reichert. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. How does it feel? I have no idea. How does it feel?
Exciting.
Yes. Mark Bosley, are you going to be at Coco Fest? I don't remember. I know I've asked you this question. I don't remember the answer.
Don't know yet.
Okay. Well, it'd be good if you could make it. If you could make that trek. And so, everybody who's talking about all the things they're buying on eBay, there is nothing like that no minimum bid auction. Not only are there cool things at hopefully good prices, but there's that whole real-time competitive, cutthroat.
Gotta beat the guy next to me because I hate his guts.
There's electricity in the room when you're bidding on some rare exclusive item, and Alan Huffman keeps one-upping you on it. So it's something else. So
you need to get him some Jolt Cola in the corner or something. So he's
right.
busy.
Well, no, you need to give him a tranquilizer. Is what you need. You don't need Alan on caffeine.
Don't encourage him, is what we're saying.
Yeah, tranquilizer dart ought to do it, right? Like one big enough to take down a rhino might work.
I'm surprised he doesn't come on the show more often.
Yeah, I don't know what his schedule's like.
He does his Coco in phases. He doesn't do it year round, and he's been like that for years.
He's seasonal.
Is he into other stuff or?
Yeah, he's got the whole Renaissance Fair thing he's been into, and some other things too. So it.
Where he dresses up like a Renaissance guy, or?
Yeah, he's a minstrel and stuff too.
Yeah, he puts on a blue suit with a big R on the chest. I am a Renaissance man.
he rides a horse with one of those spears.
The jousting thing, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So I've been really bad at trying to watch the live chat. I think there's just too much of it. It's been really hard to stay up with the live chat, honestly, but. For those of you who've been chatting, I hope your chats have been good, and hopefully we haven't neglected you too much, right? So, so the questions are we going to have, what's the plan for next week? Right now, there isn't a plan. Other than I will change the number 99 to 100 on the screen.
And the date. Don't forget
and the date. Well, the date's real. The date comes from my real-time clock, by the way. I'm not bragging, just saying. But I don't know. If nothing else, not that I want to encourage things, but maybe if we all had a drink and we could toast at least, champagne or something else. Not that I want to encourage, drunken behavior, but I think we should at least we should raise a glass and toast, the occasion, if nothing else. So, but other than that, right now I don't have anything specially planned. I'm not going to have time to edit a montage or commemorative best of episodes. It's going to be whoever the hell shows up. We're going to talk about whatever the hell we end up talking about. I would definitely like to invite, maybe I'll do that. I'll put a thing out on Facebook and trying to invite as many people on as possible. It's to get,
because if you do the invite like a full week early, we'll hopefully get some more people to join in.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Well, one thing that was kind of nice about tonight with the small panel, we got through the whole, how was your week in like 20 minutes. So it didn't take a whole lot of time. Sometimes we've had like 20 people on the panel, and you get into what's new this week. Next thing you know, an hour and a half has gone by.
So. Second hour.
Yeah. Oh, for the 100th anniversary episode, we don't really have to do that. We can make it a special and not do all the segments either. So
yeah. It'll be a free form show. So yeah, we'll see.
Could be a retrospective purely. If you wanted it to be.
Yeah. But I think the nature of this show is the real-time interactivity. So I'd like to try to encourage as many of the alumni to attend as possible, as well as maybe some new blood as well. Let's see if we can break the internet and get, I think our limit with Zoom is 100 people on a call. I'm not sure how many, when the screen's going to start to pixelate with video feeds. Let's see if we can break Zoom. Right?
See if we can do it. Divide by zero, not a number.
Yeah, divide by zero error. That would be kind of cool. So maybe I'll get a bottle of champagne. We'll break out the bubblies. We'll cheer. We'll toast, and then we'll talk Coco.
I may not be able to make it because I have biology coming.
Yes.
But then again, maybe I'll just pop on, and they can say hi.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an episode without Ron.
Yeah, besides, you get the name credit that way. It goes on the internet.
Okay.
Cool. Very, very cool. All right, thank you everybody in the live chat. I'm sorry I've been bad. I've been naughty. I haven't been reading it. It's just too much. So, but we're glad you're here. We're going to press the button. Any parting thoughts, closing thoughts? Brian, the Music Man Shoebring, any parting thoughts, words of wisdom for the folks at home?
Well, we've got at least 5 countries going to be coming in, including the U.S. We've got Belgium, Netherlands, Australia, the U.S., and I think that's 5.
Did you count Canada?
Canada.
Oh, and Canada. That's the other one. I'm sorry. It's late.
Yeah, they don't really count as a country. Yeah. They're
Of
just
course they do.
They're like Northern America. They're like America. They're like polite Americans that talk funny. So
yeah, I got the anthems all rung up.
How to pronounce things and how to spell.
At least they spell color correctly. Yeah.
What do you think about Australians then? Do you call Australia a country, or is that just a big island?
What's
We've got
that?
a big island.
What do you reckon about Australia? Is that just that's not a country? That's what?
It's that guy. It's a penal colony.
We're a part of America. We just actors and all that stuff that's going on. Facebook.
One very interesting fact about Australia: if you overlay a map of Australia over the lower 48, it's almost exactly the same size.
Yeah,
People don't
really?
realize. Yeah, Australia and the USA are about the same size.
Oh wow.
Just shy. Just under 2 million square kilometers smaller than what your country is.
How many people in Australia?
25 million.
25 million? Yeah.
25 million. Wow.
Wow.
Like 1/10.
We're small.
We have that
we
many
pack a lot
people
for
here in
25 million.
Arizona.
That's something. I mean, it just shows you how ignorant we are as Americans. We don't know anything. So,
No. All we know is Vegemite and
we like it that way.
and those animals with pockets.
Yes.
Yeah, but you did bring up that Vegemite topic in the Facebook group. What was going on there?
Yeah, that was a good topic.
What's
that was
that?
a great topic.
A few comments on that one, you know.
Which
Yeah,
one
that
was
was
that?
The
The
Vegemite.
Vegemite one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought you would have commented and said, "Oh, that disgusting Vegemite was brought up in Facebook. That's not a topic for Cocos."
Ah, no. I've got a jar right next to me. I got Brian Palmer sent me one. It's got my name on it. And
Isn't that
Brian
what
Joyce.
we used for use that brightness stuff on our computers? Put the Vegemite on there and it makes it lighter.
Oh, you're thinking of Retro Bright.
Oh, Retro Bright.
It's
It's not Vegemite, it's Retro Bright.
No, so Vegemite is also known as axle grease. You've probably packed some of that into some bearings before. So.
Yeah, who was it that had buns or something that they were spreading it on?
I had some on toast, I think. Yeah, I've got a jar of it. It's like it kind of looks like peanut butter when you look at it, but it's dark and it's kind of bitter and salty. So
It's like sunpoil. Looks like sunpoil.
It's delicious.
It's absolutely delicious. The secret to Vegemite is you have a thin layer of it on toast and then pile on the butter. Make sure the butter melts right into it. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys have mayonnaise there?
Yeah, we do.
Of course, we got mayonnaise.
Would that be good on it with it?
Oh no!
No. I'm with you on that. Yeah, that's no.
You ruin it.
That's
Some people have.
Yeah. So what
Some
is
people have
butter?
Peanut butter.
Vegemite is based on a yeast, right? Some type of yeast extract or something like that.
Vegetable extract, basically.
Vegetable
yeah,
extract.
Yep. It's very high in B group vitamins.
Yeah.
Which means if you're drinking, it's probably good for you. Keeps
Good
headache.
hangover remedy. Could be.
Yes, it can be. It can be a good remedy for a hangover.
It's a good remedy.
Packs of vitamins in it.
Yeah, it's a good
Here, I
remedy
thought
for
that stuff was used to ward off snakes and spiders.
No,
No,
it
it doesn't.
attracts them.
Yeah.
And what's the UK version that's similar? Is it Malta or something like that?
Marmite.
Marmite. Yeah.
Okay.
Marmite, Promite.
The only mite I've ever tried is Vegemite. I've never tried Marmite or Promite or any of those other mites.
You don't want to try it, David. It's disgusting. They're imitations of the Vegemite.
Yeah.
My dog had some mites.
Yeah, I think we've got dust mites over here in the U.S. So,
And the occasional imported Vegemite.
Yeah, right. And so Mark Bosley, as our final thoughts here, are you somewhat new to being back in the Coco community? Have you been around for a while?
I was out of it for a while. I mean, I had everything that I've had back in the 80s. I had it, it just was stored in the closet. And I've only recently brought it out. Interacting with you guys has have me get back into it.
I bought those. We have those in our stores.
Tim
here.
Tam?
Yes.
Tim Tams. They are delicious. These are actually made in Australia. They just started importing them recently.
They are awesome. Dark chocolate.
This is the caramel one.
Ooh. I just ordered some more of those Australian red licorices that Jason Reichert turned me on to last year. It's funny.
Yeah.
So
if you eat too much dark black licorice, it'll kill you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, it just gives you the runs.
I don't like black licorice anyways. It's too sour.
It's a laxative.
It's a laxative? All right, guys.
It's a laxative if you eat too much of it.
All right. Bye, Curtis.
See you guys later.
Good night. Got to fly also. Have a good night,
100th episode.
Yeah, we'll plan it. We'll invite some people. All right. So we're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Episode 99's in the can. Vegemite, Marmonite, Dynamite. You got it. We've done it.
Coco
Coco
Gimme
Mite. Give me my. All right, cool. We're hanging up. I'm pressing the button. All right, this is the sound of me hanging up. 3, 2, 1.